Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
Shiwan stared at the cant for a long time and didn't know what to reply to. Lien, on the other hand, had sparkling eyes. Him in, brother. You reply to her again. On the other side, Ming Ri's little son had been paying attention to Jiang Shiwan's Weibo. When he saw a golden yellow V, he clicked on it and realized that their common focus was the sun is not late. Then he looked at Li Zhan's verified profile, CEO of Sky Shadow Media Company. A golden giant turtle. Then he looked at Jiang Shiwan. They were both fans. This made Ming Ri's little son doubt the authenticity of this Madame Jiang who wants to be a screenwriter, saying that they weren't big stars but third-rate artistes. Ah, yes, his idol had even flipped his cards over to her. Who was this person? Who was who? Who was who? He spread his hands. Her idol flipping her cards was purely coincidental. Your imagination is too wild. Her hands were itchy, and she couldn't resist her curiosity. She couldn't help but post a reply. Wow, who the hell are you? You're actually fanning the boss of Heaven's Shadow. Shiwan saw this unfamiliar and sharp comment, and couldn't help but ridicule Lien. You're always talking nonsense, look. It's troublesome to be seen through by others. Shiwan deliberated over her words. It's okay. There was a time when I forwarded Lord Boss's Weibo. Lord Boss probably thought that I was an interesting fan, just like you. This excuse was a little fake, but she couldn't think of a good reason at the moment. Sigh. It seemed like she had to remove her fans. As for Ming Ri's little son, it was a little tricky to deal with. Ming Ri's little son said, Oh, I'm a fan because we're idols. Zheng Mingri isn't my idol. He's my good friend and good partner. You're not? He's so good at acting and so handsome. Yet you don't like him? Yeah. TCH, you're a third-rate artiste. Yet you don't treat my young master as your idol. No wonder you're not popular. Shiwan looked at the comments on it. Wanted to reply with an O. Then a comment appeared in /block. She was dragged into the blacklist. This was the first time Shiwan had encountered such a situation. This feeling was really tipsy, but it was also good. She was still worrying about how to deal with this guy just now. And then she left on her own. Then, Shiwan looked at the word can't and thought about how to reply. Then how do I make myself a boss? As soon as she typed this string of words, Shiwan immediately deleted it. Her tone was too flattering, so there was no way she could woo the boss. I see. Deleted. It was too cold, and there was no sustainable topic to talk about. The boss would definitely not care about you anymore. Shiwan deleted and deleted a few times in a row, but she still could not find the right words. It was really a pity that there were not enough books when they were needed. She could not help but curse herself in her heart. What kind of agreement is this? This is much more difficult than drinking and joking with others at a dinner party. It would be better to take things one step at a time after becoming famous. After all, Sky Shadow would not force her artiste to sell her meat. They might as well change the topic. Jiang Shi106 replied to Li Zhan. Boss, you're still up so late? After waiting for a long time, there was no response. Did she go offline? No, it was still green, which meant that she was online. F***CK, as expected of the KLN flower. A nagging big sister's brother was actually a cold and silent maniac. How did Ms. Zheng Yining give birth? The angry Shiwan switched to her main account. It's so cold, I miss the heating. She was hurt by the cold and felt stifled. Min, who was scrolling through Weibo, said, You posted on Weibo today. Yeah. Min bragged, Look at your Weibo now. With just a casual post, you've already forwarded more than 10,000 posts. Amazing, right? Upon hearing Min's words, Shiwan looked at her latest Weibo. Sure enough, the comments and reposts were all scrolling on the floor. Then, she looked at her own fans. 5 million. Although it could not be compared to the tens of millions of fans she had, she was still a newbie who had not debuted yet. And she actually had so many fans so quickly. HMPH, I managed to turn your Weibo into a kind and unjust heroine. Amazing, right? Shiwan scrolled down her previous Weibo. Most of the pictures were of her side profile during her break. There was also a line about how heroic she was and how chivalrous she was. For example, When you're alive, drink and sing. The picture was of her standing in front of the hotel window, drinking a glass of water and looking at the bright moon outside the window. For example, youth fades quickly, beauty grows old easily. Pity the person in front of you. The picture was of her dancing posture, as by Schwang. The other picture was of human traffickers trafficking people. Her angry expression also added, human traffickers deserve to be shot. She helped forward any pets that got lost, adding, poor little animals, please forward and help find them. She forwarded a major national positive energy event. The motherland is awesome. The Chingguan hit the melon farmers, but she still forwarded the evil Chingguan strongly requests to be arrested. In short, this Weibo became a strange Weibo. The content was really what Min said, a kind and righteous heroine. At a glance, it was obvious that this was a person with a temperament, hot-blooded and narrow-minded. Such a person was rarely seen in society. However, that was not Jiang Xuan. Then, she looked at the comments below. 50% was a confession from a true love fan, 10% was a paparazzi, 20% was a passerby, and the rest were zombie fans lining up. Yes, Xiwan looked carefully and found that she also had a large number of zombie fans. Xiwan looked at such a nondescript Weibo and felt like a mouthful of blood was stuck in her throat. After a long while, she said, as long as you're happy. Min wanted to show off her contributions, but she saw Xiwan's expression, which was slightly strange. That, Xiwan sighed. I'm an actress. Some retweets were understandable, but some really were. Min's little face turned red. Xiwan had to delete those Weibo posts that were not from her. From now on, just post my photos every 2 days. There's no need to attach any text. Just like Jiang Xiwan's account back then. Xiwan deleted Weibo. It became a hot topic on the same day. All the major marketing accounts came out one after another. Why did Jiang Xiwan delete Weibo? Everyone dug out why Jiang Xiwan deleted Weibo. They spread their hands. If a person was famous, they would fart. They wanted to find out why Jiang Xiwan would fart. The marketing accounts were immediately activated. Sister Lisa also called efficiently. Hello, Xiwan. How did you delete your Weibo? Oh, some of the content is inappropriate. Sister Lisa said earnestly, you know it's inappropriate too. You even transferred it back then. We thought you were trying to do something. Okay. Xiwan did not answer. After all, if Sister Lisa found out that these Weibo posts were all from Min would probably be called back to the company and start all over again. Okay, I got it. The company will send a troll army. You can continue acting in peace. Okay. Min's face was red. I'm sorry, Xiwan. I've caused you trouble. She thought that the audience now liked chivalrous, heroic, and kind artists. Indeed, under her management, the Weibo fans had also gained a lot of fans. However, it seemed that Xiwan's image was set to be terrible. After deleting 100 Weibo posts, Xiwan once again cleared out her zombie fans. In an instant, the number of Weibo fans dropped to 3.5 million. It seemed that the company didn't buy a lot of fans. The page was finally much cleaner. Xiwan was not a Virgo, but her obsessive-compulsive disorder was quite serious. Min looked at Xiwan, who was so tired, and could not help but feel that she was quite useless. As an assistant, she could not even manage a small matter like Weibo for an artist. Xiwan switched back to her alternate account, only to see Lian's alternate account asking her, what are you up to again? F***CK, I'm happy. Not only was she disgusted by that idiot Zheng Nuo, but she was also dragged into the blacklist by Zheng Mingri's fans. Chatting with the boss was not enough. He could not be happy. You're good. At this moment, another message came in. Xiwan opened it and saw that it was from Li Zhanvi. Watch the show. Xiwan blinked. Did he reply to her again? Hence, Xiwan was emboldened and sent a private message to Li Zhan. Jiang Xiwan 06. Boss, this idea of yours is too eye-catching. You're also fanning me and replying to me continuously. I'll be skinned alive. Li Zhanvi. I didn't notice. Silence. Jiang Xiwan 06. Oh right, boss, I have a question. I've always wanted to ask you, why is your Weibo filled with financial news? Li Zhanvi. Making money. Xiwan. Then, without waiting for her reply, boss sent another message. Li Zhan V. How did you become a chatterbox? At this moment, Shiwan's heart was about to break down. I'm trying to get close to you. Jiang Shuan 06. Li Zhan V. I'm going to bed. Goodbye. Wave your hand. Shiwan. Speaking of his real age, Li Zhan was probably 2 years younger than her. She didn't expect him to be such an old-fashioned existence. Waving his hand now was used exclusively for self-deprecation. Okay, who would still use it seriously for worship? Boss did not wait for her to reply, then went offline. Shiwan again vomited blood, can only depressed closed eyes to sleep. I don't want to. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Hemin woke him up again. But Shiwan can't get up. In addition, it was still dark outside, and it was cold, so Shiwan hid her head under the blanket again. Hemin, today is the morning show. Get up quickly, get up quickly. Hemin started to mumble, as if she was possessed by a monk. When Shiwan came out after washing up, Hemin was shocked. Your dark circles. Shiwan's skin was white, and when she stayed up all night, her dark circles were especially obvious. Oh, after that, they went to the hotel's restaurant to eat breakfast. Zheng Nuo had already taken a breakfast and was sitting at the dining table waiting for the two of them. Zheng Nuo looked at Shiwan, who was slowly approaching, and his heart was in a mess. Goddess, please calm down. You also have deep dark circles under your eyes. Hemin seemed to have discovered a new world. Oh, I'm playing games, Zheng Nuo lied. Last night, he had insomnia. When he thought of Shiwan's cold eyes, Zheng Nuo was afraid from the bottom of his heart. Breakfast was porridge, eggs, milk, cake, purple potatoes. It was a very common meal, but it was very exquisite and beautiful. Shiwan casually used a little and looked up to see Zheng Nuo staring straight at her. She frowned. Zheng Nuo immediately lowered his head. No matter how stupid Hemin was, she still felt that there was an undercurrent between her two bosses. The word less talking, more doing was used here to say, eat quickly, don't ask. When she arrived at the set, she saw that Chun Jiabao was already there putting on makeup. Last week, Chun Jiabao went to the second location to shoot the storyline because Shiwan had not seen her for a while. After greeting each other, Shiwan was just about to take a seat when she heard Zhou Dong's voice. Yo, looks like I'm late again today. It just so happens that Teacher Zhou always comes at the right time. How amazing. The makeup artist who was putting on makeup for Chun Jiabao teased. Zhou Dong smiled and placed his makeup case on the table at the side. Then, he opened his makeup case and looked at Shiwan. What did you do last night? Why are your dark circles so heavy? That's right, Shiwan. What happened to you yesterday? Today's Weibo headlines are full of the content you deleted last night. Chun Jiabao also asked. Nothing. Shiwan smiled and sat in her own seat. Chun Jiabao said, oh. Then he said, in a while, it will be our opposite scene. There are so many lines. I'm so nervous. Every time I act with you, I'm afraid that Gu Yi will kick me out of the production. No need to be nervous, Shiwan replied with a smile. After all, we've already filmed more than half of the scene. Hee, Director Gu is only deeply in love and is deeply responsible. Chun Jiabao's makeup artist also joined in the conversation. Today's scene was where Su Wenwan and Shi Wan, who were staying in the capital, were invited to be guests by the eldest young master's wife of the prime minister's residence. Then, Chun Jiabao played the already dark-skinned Su Wenwan, who wanted to pour a cup of boiling tea that the servant girl had just served onto Bai Shuang unexpectedly. Bai Shuang, who was at the side, inadvertently raised her hand, and the boiling tea was poured on Su Wenwan instead. Su Wenwan, the eldest young master's wife, then sent someone to the ear room to change her clothes. Su Wenwan immediately gave Bai Shuang a fierce slap. This scene was also seen by the eldest young master of the prime minister's estate, who was played by the second male lead, Dong Su. Then, a vicious scheme was hatched in his heart. Speaking of which, Xia Xian, the second male lead, was the main villain in the records of the geisha of the Tang dynasty. In the original, Xia Xianming was on the surface Li Ye's study companion, Li Ye's good brother and good arm, but behind his back, he was a great treacherous official. His thoughts were even deeper and more vicious than that of Prime Minister Xia. One of the people who had driven his horse to chase after Bai Shuang that day was Xia Xian. This time, he had his wife invite these two lowlifes to the residence as guests because he knew that Bai Shuang had something he wanted. It was urgent. He needed to get the envelope of evidence back quickly. What's wrong? I saw you delete a lot of Weibo posts yesterday. Did something unpleasant happen? Director, it's rare that you care about female artistes. Xiao Qin took the notebook and walked to Gu Ye's side. I can't, Gu Ye teased. Besides, if you don't look well, I care about you too. Xiwan smiled. Chun Jiabao, who was watching the interaction between the two, lowered his head. Okay, you guys go ahead. Okay. After Xiwan put on her costume, she was wrapped in a cotton padded jacket. She only took off her cotton padded jacket when the director said, "Get ready to shoot." She shivered. Although she was indoors, the temperature was so low that it was freezing. It had to be said that the December after the rain was extremely humid and cold. Actors were most afraid of filming in the off-season. Wearing a summer jacket in the winter and a cotton padded jacket in the summer, the feeling was simply unbearable. After one round of filming, each of them could lose 10 kilograms. Therefore, in the industry of actors, laymen looked glamorous, but only they knew the hardships they had to go through. On your marks, 3, 2, 1, action. Once the shooting started, everyone focused their attention. Su Wenwan, wearing a pink Confucian dress, entered Bai Shuang's inner room. As soon as she opened her mouth, her voice was somewhat choking. Bai Shuang, didn't you leave Chang'an? Why are you back? Awan doesn't like me coming back. Bai Shuang was puzzled. Su Wenwan averted her gaze. Oh, how can that be? I'm just worried that the Empress Dowager will find out that you've returned. After all, it was the Empress Dowager who asked you to leave. You have no edict to return to the capital now. If the higher-ups find out, I'm afraid that your life will be threatened again. Bai Shuang was silent. Bai Shuang, listen to my advice. Quickly cut off your lustful thoughts of the Royal Highness and stop interacting with him. Ever since the last time the Royal Highness insisted on marrying you as his wife, the Emperor and the Empress Dowager were displeased with the Royal Highness. You have to be clear about your identity. You're a geisha, a lowly person. Your status is so lowly that you are even inferior to a servant girl. To be able to be a proper wife in an ordinary family is already a blessing that you have obtained in 8 lifetimes. Yet you still dream of being the Royal Highness's proper wife. It's really too. I will only speak about you if you are a friend. Su Wenwan said with a face full of sincerity, however. Her eyes were filled with jealousy and malice. She wished that she could tear this person who was lying on the bed into 1,000 pieces. Why did she deserve the favor of the Royal Highness? How could she, Su Wenwan, be inferior to her appearance ability? Moreover, she was not like Bai Shuang, who had a heart as high as the sky and a life as thin as paper. She only wanted to be the Royal Highness's concubine. Why couldn't the Royal Highness see her existence? Why? Bai Shuang was silent. Su Wenwan continued. You've been staying in the royal residence ever since you came back. If I hadn't gone out shopping and met the maid of the royal residence of Spring Yin, who is currently serving Bai Shuang, I forgot my lines. Everyone laughed wildly. Cut. Guyi shouted to stop. Let's look at the lines again. The hidden jealousy just now was pretty good. Chen Jiabao's face turned red. Thank you for the compliment. Su Wenjuan's jealousy towards Bai Shuang was also her jealousy towards Jiang Shuan. Jiang Shuan was younger and prettier than her. Her management company also valued her more. Most importantly, she had acting skills. But what about herself? Her face couldn't be considered very pretty in the entertainment industry, where beautiful women were outstanding. Her round face had its limitations. She wasn't like Jiang Shuan, who could play the role of an otherworldly fairy and a seductive spirit. As for the acting skills that were often praised by teachers and classmates in school, when they were in front of the camera, they were all despised by the director. They were both rookies. Not to mention geniuses like Jiang Shuan and Xiao Song. Even Dong Su, who was the same age as her, could pass them within 4 times. As for her, she could easily pass them. She liked Gu Yi, but Gu Yi could not see her and even despised her. On the contrary, he was full of praise for Jiang Shuan. Not only did he praise her acting skills, there seemed to be something else. That was why she was jealous of Jiang Shiwan. When she was acting, she thought about how Li only cared about Bai Shuang and ignored Su Wenwan, just like how Gui only cared about Jiang Shiwan and ignored her. It made her heart itch with jealousy. She couldn't hide it. She was so jealous that she wanted to give him a slap. That was why she forgot the lines. Actually, she didn't. She had memorized the lines a long time ago. She just wanted to slow down and calm down. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a good thing if she looked ferocious in front of the camera. 5 minutes later, the shooting started again. This time, the two of them went to the map of the Prime Minister's residence in one go. Only then did Su Wenwan learn that Bai Shuang had sent 2 guards to follow her when she went out. She could not help but feel jealous. When they arrived at the Prime Minister's residence, they saw many young ladies sitting in the pavilion talking about interesting things. When this group of ladies from prestigious families saw that the two of them had arrived, although they despised them in their hearts, they did not show it on their faces. After the two of them sat down, the eldest young master's wife's maids served them tea. Su Wenwan had received the tea and deliberately leaned over to pour the tea. Bai Shuang was touched by the maid next to her. She unintentionally raised her hand, and Su Wenjuan's tea was poured on her. The eldest young master's wife ordered the maid to take Su Wenwan to the back of the room to change her clothes. Bai Shuang felt bad and followed her. You did it on purpose. Bai Shuang, did I say those things in the morning to make you uncomfortable? So you deliberately made me look bad. Is that it? Su Wenwan said tears flowed down her face, and then she glared at Bai Shuang. I treated you as my best friend in vain. You don't deserve it. Pa! Gui smiled and raised his eyebrows. Oh, Xiao Qin could actually see that Jiang Shiwan was suppressing the scene? It's nothing. I just feel that Shiwan's acting is particularly good. Xiao Qin couldn't explain it. He only felt that Jiang Shiwan's acting in the monitor was particularly vivid. It was as if he was not on the set, but in the Tang dynasty the girl opposite him was being bullied by the vicious second female lead. It was especially pitiful, and he wished he could go up and beat up the second female lead. Gui stroked his bald chin. She's always been great. Even if she was great, he still didn't like the act of suppressing the acting. But today, Chun Jiabao had provoked her first. He had deliberately given her such a fierce slap, and it had swollen her small face. Don't blame Jiang Shiwan for being angry. Sigh. So this time, he would take it as venting her anger on her. However, was Jiang Shiwan really a newcomer? Why did she have such a strong ability to suppress her acting? In the current entertainment industry, this kind of ability could be counted on one's fingers. Moreover, they were all top-notch aces in the entertainment industry. However, a newcomer who was not a professional and had never acted before had actually appeared. It was really unbelievable. In this world, was there really someone who was born to act? Xiao Qin looked at the director, who was smiling slyly. Director Gu thinks highly of Shiwan. In the past few days, the director had always been looking at Jiang Shiwan, and his mind would wander from time to time. Gui waved away Xiao Qin, who was gossiping, and said, "Go away and continue watching." Gui looked at the two people who were in the midst of filming, and his gaze unconsciously shifted to Jiang Shiwan. Oh, what a stubborn personality. She didn't even want to give him a shot after he gave her a slap. Oh, I can only go back and shoot 2 more scenes of Chun Jiabao's side to make up the numbers. Sigh. It was indeed the most annoying situation for a director to have a conflict between a scheming second female lead and a capable first female lead. It really wasn't easy to be a director these days. However, he guessed that Qin Jiabao must be feeling a lot of pressure right now, and he still didn't know what was going on. Look at Jiang Shiwan's completely crushing acting skills. She crushed Chun Jiabao, who had finally broken through today to the point where not even a speck of dust was left. Moreover, her natural positioning had inadvertently driven Chun Jiabao's face out of the camera. Thinking of this, Gu Yi unconsciously laughed out loud. Xiao Qin was at a loss, but he was still classified as the first female lead and second female lead. The director was very satisfied. Cut okay. Shiwan wiped away her tears and returned to her expressionless face. She returned to her seat and sat down. She had just taken a sip of water when she saw Gu Yi walking toward her. Xiwan thought of how she had overplayed the role just now and felt a little embarrassed. Director, Gu Yi smiled. Now you know that you're embarrassed. What did you do earlier? I'm sorry. Do you need to start over? Zheng Nuo and He Min looked at each other at the side. Did something happen? Gu Yi smiled. There's no need. It won't happen again. Xiwan smiled. Okay. Zheng Nuo watched the interaction between Xiwan and Gu Yi. What are you talking about? Why can't I understand? Nothing. Gu Yi crossed his arms and looked at Zheng Nuo. But then again, Zheng Nuo is a free agent. He's more like an assistant than an assistant. Then he turned around and left. F***CK. Zheng Nuo couldn't help swearing as he watched Gu Yi leave. Then he saw Xiwan still ignoring him. Even though he was numb from holding the ice cube for half an hour, she still ignored him. Goddess, please calm down. I was wrong, I won't do it again. Zheng Nuo was the one who finished work earlier today. He waved his hand again and invited everyone from Group A to dinner. Xiwan's face was injured, so they couldn't eat spicy food. Therefore, they didn't go to Sichuan restaurant, but Hang Bang restaurant. By order Dompa meat, Longjing shrimp, Westlake vinegar fish, sweet and sour pork ribs, shredded bamboo shoots, pickled tuxedo, steamed white fish, and other specialties. In addition, they also ordered many other specialties. A big box and 3 tables were just right. Zheng Nuo sat next to Xiwan and took care of her in various ways. For example, he would give Xiwan fish, remove the fish bones, and then put them into Xiwan's bowl. There was also a 4th female lead at the table. Lin Sha was playing the role of the eldest son's wife. She was 30 years old and looked average, but she knew how to take care of herself. She looked like she was 25 years old, but she was already married. It was said that her husband was a rich second-generation heir. Her husband wanted her to be a well-behaved wife of a rich family, and she liked acting very much. In the end, the two of them came to an agreement that they would not take the lead role and would only play a part in the show. Unknowingly, she had become familiar with the entertainment industry. If a director or screenwriter had a role in the show, they would usually give her priority. Hence, in the industry, she had a nickname, Professional Cameo. Lin Sha saw how thoughtful Zheng Nuo was in taking care of Jiang Xiwan. I'm so envious that Xiwan has such a caring boyfriend. Today was Lin Sha's 3rd day on the set. There were still a few scenes left before the filming was over, so she did not know that Zheng Nuo was only Xiwan's manager. Zheng Nuo was a good-looking man. He was deeply in love with Jiang Xiwan and subconsciously labeled her as Jiang Xiwan's boyfriend. Zheng Nuo was pleasantly surprised. Someone actually thought that he was Jiang Xiwan's boyfriend. Just as he was about to say, "You really have good taste," Gu Yi interrupted, "He's just her manager." Zheng Nuo, what did he mean by just? Lin Sha looked at Zheng Nuo in surprise. Her small mouth was round. "Oh," she said, then lowered her head and started eating. Zheng Nuo squinted at Gu Yi. He looked calm on the surface, but he would glance at Xiwan from time to time and tell him that this guy was his rival in love. Then, he looked at Jiang Xiwan, who was looking down at her own food. Her eyebrows were eyebrows, and her eyes were eyes. She was really well-born. It seemed that if he wanted to win the heart of a beauty, it would be better to have a long way to go. Zheng Nuo scooped another spoonful of egg soup. This tastes pretty good. Then, he looked up at Gu Yi with a slightly provocative look in his eyes. It's hard for director Gu to be so busy and still know about my small identity. I'm really flattered. Gu Yi smiled. How can that be? No matter what, you're still the manager of the female lead in my first movie. He Min was not stupid. She could naturally see the undercurrents between Zheng Nuo and Gu Yi. Thinking about it, both of them had taken a liking to Xiwan. A loud sound rang in everyone's ears. Was this really a fight? Everyone was stunned. I'm sorry, Xiwan, I'm sorry. Chun Jiabao's entire face was flushed red as she looked at her hands in confusion and repeatedly apologized. Cut! Gu Yi shouted to stop. Chun Jiabao, what the hell are you doing? Before filming this scene, he had told her that he was going to use her as a backup. He was really going to beat her up. If he was really going to beat her up, then so be it. At least give me some lines. There was only one line missing in this scene. Xiwan looked at Chun Jiabao, who was at a loss. She saw that her face was completely red and her eyes were filled with tears of grievance. It was as if one did not forgive her, one would be a heinous scoundrel. If she hadn't caught a glimpse of joy in her eyes, she would have been fooled. Gui, try saying that Chun Jiabao's acting isn't good. Shiwan couldn't help but start thinking. What did she do to offend this shy, round-faced girl? Was it the first time when she didn't want to share her Weibo post, so she held a grudge, or did her brilliance overshadow her elegance? Well, it was mediocre to not be envied by others. In the end, she was too outstanding. Oh, it's windy and cold. Your hands are shaking. I know, Shiwan said lightly. I'm sorry. Shiwan, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean it. On the other side, Zheng Nuo had already trotted to Shiwan's side and put on a cotton-padded jacket for her. When he saw Chun Jiabao's face that looked like he was about to cry, he was very impatient. Do you still have the face to be wronged? Then, he pulled Jiang Shiwan over. He carefully looked at the wound on her face. The 5 bright red guidelines on her fair skin were so piercing that it hurt people's eyes. It hurts, doesn't it? This Danby *TCH was too ruthless. Go and get some ice, Shiwan ordered faintly. Okay. Zheng Nuo immediately ran back. I'll take you. One of the staff members followed him out. Shiwan found that she was surrounded by the staff members who had rushed over one after another. They all asked about her condition. Hemin squeezed in and saw that 11-Wan's small face was red and swollen from the slap. She was full of heartache. Then, she looked at Chun Jiabao, who was about to cry, and kept apologizing, and she didn't have a good impression of him. However, this was filming. It was Shiwan's mistake, so it was not appropriate for her to say anything. After all, they were in the same production team. It was not good to have bad relations with each other. Chun Jiabao's assistant also rushed over. He kept bowing and apologizing to Shiwan. Our artist did not do it on purpose. I'm really sorry. Shiwan, are you okay? My face is swollen. Jiabao's grip is too strong. How can I take on the scene later? Xiao Qin's face was filled with heartache. All right, did you get the ice? Yes. Xiao Fong and A.H. Nuo went to look for it. One of them said, I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. Shiwan replied indifferently. I'm sorry, Shiwan. I didn't control myself well. I'm really sorry. Chun Jiabao kept his posture to the minimum. Many staff members looked at Chun Jiabao's sincere attitude and thought that she didn't do it on purpose, so they looked at Shiwan. Yes, I know. Hemin led Shiwan back to the rest area. Gui also came over to check on the situation. Are you okay? The ice is here. Zheng Nuo came over with a bag of crushed ice as fast as he could. Just as Shiwan was about to take it, Zheng Nuo said, I'll do it. Then he added, it's cold. Hemin, pass the hand warmer to Shiwan. Okay. Hemin took the hand warmer. Her face was burning. Under the ice's calmness, she felt much better. Gui saw Shiwan apply the ice. You've worked hard today. It's okay. Shiwan closed her eyes. The entire production team had to stop for half an hour. Chun Jiabao sat at the side, burying his head. She finally couldn't hold back the jealousy in her heart. The feeling of slapping someone in the face was really, really good. At that moment, she felt that the anger she had suffered for months in the production team had dissipated under a single slap. You didn't do it on purpose. I believe that no one will blame you. Chun Jiabao's assistant comforted Chun Jiabao. Sigh, she was still acting well before this. She was still thinking about how it was rare for Jiabao's acting skills to improve by leaps and bounds today and be able to keep up with Jiang Shiwan's rhythm. But in the end, something had still gone wrong. She only hoped that the production team wouldn't blame Jiabao. After all, Jiabao's mistake was really... Thinking back to the loud clapping sound and the clear guidance of the rootless bright red, she still felt a lingering fear. It must be very painful, even for her. Chun Jiabao raised his head and looked coldly at his assistant. The assistant was horrified by this look. Jiabao, oh, thank you. I understand. Chun Jiabao smiled at his assistant. Oh. Half an hour later, the swelling on Shiwan's face had subsided quite a bit. Zhou Dong fully displayed his superb makeup skills and covered the faint palm print with foundation. Only then did they start shooting again. This time, they started shooting directly from the part of the slap. Before shooting, Gui warned Chen Jiabao, "Move over, don't forget. I don't want such a low-level mistake to appear in front of me again." Gui stared at Chen Jiabao with a slightly cold gaze. Chen Jiabao nodded repeatedly. "I know. I'm sorry, Director. I'll do a good job this time." "Shiwan, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that just now." Shiwan curled the corners of her lips. "I know. The wind is strong and the weather is cold. Your hands are shaking." Chen Jiabao glanced at Shiwan's calm expression. He was suspicious. Did she know, or not? She probably didn't know. Otherwise, if anyone knew that the other party had slapped her on purpose, it would definitely blow up. Since she didn't know, saying such words twice probably made her feel uncomfortable. "I really didn't do it on purpose." Shiwan nodded. "I said it. I got it." Then she looked at the director. "Okay." Then she said to Chen Jiabao, "But since it wasn't on purpose just now, let's not make a mistake this time." "Yes, yes, 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 Shiwan." Chen Jiabao answered diligently. "On your marks, 3, 2, 1, action." Su Wenwan looked at the concern by Shuang. She couldn't help but raise her voice. "You did it on purpose." "By Shuang, did I say those words in the morning to make you uncomfortable? So you deliberately embarrassed me, didn't you? I treated you as my best friend in vain. You're not worthy." "Pa!" The move was successful. Bai Shuang's face was smacked, and she looked at Su Wenwan in disbelief. "Wenwan, how could you think like that? How could she do it on purpose?" She didn't know that she was holding a cup of tea beside her. How could she do it on purpose? Why would Wenwan think like that? "Bai Shuang, from now on, we are not friends." Shiwan and Chen Jiabao continued to act. Xiao Qin, who was beside Gu Yi, stared at the monitor and looked at the director beside him. "Director Gu, I feel that something is wrong." Putting aside Zheng Nuo's family background, the son of the uncle of the boss, and the mother of the boss was Zheng Yining, the daughter of the Zheng Corporation. As for Director Gu, he had heard from Zhou Dong that he was rich. Zhou Dong had never given any makeup to the production crew, but since he was here for the sake of the Gu family, it could be imagined that Director Gu's family background was not ordinary. Indeed, only when a woman was outstanding could an outstanding man pursue her. She clenched her fists. She had to enrich herself and make herself outstanding. After the meal, the relaxed and happy atmosphere could only be felt by those idiots. The people expressed that they were under a great deal of pressure. If they had known earlier, they would not have come out to eat. They spread their hands. There was such a strong smell of gunpowder between Director Gu and Zheng Nuo. If they could not smell it, it was better to go home and farm as soon as possible. The entertainment industry was not suitable for you. Chen Jiabao had been paying attention to Gu Yi from the beginning to the end. She sighed to herself that a woman's sixth sense was really too accurate. Gu Yi indeed had an unusual idea about Jiang Shiwan. Chen Jiabao was secretly resentful, and he gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to break. The meal was finally over. When it was time to pay the bill, Zheng Nuo was about to swipe his card when Gu Yi said calmly, "Let me do it today. I promise to treat you today. How can I let you spend money, Director Gu?" Zheng Nuo refused. What kind of joke was this? Would he let someone else do something like this in front of his goddess? Gu Yi smiled. "Next time, I'll do it this time." The waiter was close to Gu Yi. When he heard Gu Yi say that, he did not think much and swiped the card. Zheng Nuo, who was opposite him, silently spat out a mouthful of blood. Zhou Dong clicked his tongue. "It's rare for our director to treat us. Nuo, please don't take it to heart." It seemed that the two of them had really taken a liking to Shiwan. However, Zheng Nuo had originally come after Shiwan, but when had Gu Yi taken a liking to her? Seeing that the director did not show his talents on the set, nor did he show any unusual feelings towards the female lead, how could he have taken a liking to the female lead in the blink of an eye? It was really unbelievable. Zhou Dong shook his head. In any case, the two of them were not 11-Wan's type. He could not help but light candles for the two of them in his heart. After returning to the hotel, Shiwan washed up and went straight back to bed. At that moment, Zhou Liqing called. Shiwan, when can you come back? I miss you so much." "Yes, I might return to Be City on New Year's Day." Yes. Zhou Liqing replied, "I've been so bored recently. Ever since I finished shooting the MV for Xiao Inzhong, the company has let me continue to be an intern. They haven't arranged any jobs for me either. Is the company not planning to let me debut? How can that be? It's just that you're not a professional after all. You haven't learned a lot of knowledge yet. The company will definitely let you debut. Well, I hope so. These few days of body training have exhausted me to death, and my whole body is aching. Well, good luck. The two chatted for a while, and then Zhou Liqing said, "All right, let me tell you, I saw the movie Queen Soon Won You today." Shiwan's hand froze, and her whole body became slightly cold. "Oh, I accompanied Huang Yu to the hospital today, and I saw her at the OB/GYN department. Her belly was so big, I was worried that it would explode. Then, she seemed to have come with her assistant. She was wearing sunglasses the whole time, expressionless, and there were spots on her face, but her facial features were quite good." "Why did you go to the OB/GYN department?" "I'm not going to have an abortion." Zhou Liqing immediately denied it, afraid that her friends would misunderstand. Shiwan instantly understood. "Liqing, I won't say too much. You know what to do." I. Zhou Liqing slapped her own mouth. "Shiwan, don't tell anyone. I promised Huang Yu not to tell anyone. I'm not a talkative person. As for Huang Yu, how to deal with your relationship with her, it's up to you." Shiwan was giving her last advice about the relationship between Zhou Liqing and Huang Yu. "I know, but Huang Yu, she's really pitiful. She only went out for a drink and was raped by that beast." Zhou Liqing rambled on for a long time before she finally returned to the main topic. "But I made a huge discovery today. Why want to get Huang Yu's medicine? I heard Sun Wan Yu calling and arguing with someone. She said that since she liked Jiang Shiwan, she shouldn't have been with her in the first place. I was shocked at first and thought that someone liked you, but then I thought that the person she was talking about might be the dead movie queen. So I suddenly realized, did this Sun Wan Yu steal her best friend's boyfriend, damn? Then is she Jiang Shiwan's best friend or not?" Shiwan gripped her phone tightly, afraid that it would fall off. Her face was pale. The air-conditioned room was like an ice cellar, bone-chilling. Her heart was pounding. She opened her mouth, as if a fishbone was stuck in her throat. On the other side, Zhou Liqing was still rambling, "It's so magical. But I might have guessed wrong. After all, the movie queen passed away that day. She was also unconscious for 3 days." After a long time, Shiwan laughed coldly, her voice bone-chilling. Min, who had just finished showering, walked out. She was shocked by Shiwan's laughter. She raised her head and saw Shiwan's pale face. "Shiwan," said to Zhou Liqing on the other end of the phone, "I'm sleepy, Liqing. I still have to catch up on work tomorrow." Okay. Good night. I'll see you on New Year's Day." After hanging up, Shiwan threw her phone to the side and went to sleep. Min did not know why 11 Wan was in a bad mood, but she, who had good eyesight, chose to remain silent at this moment. The pale moonlight outside the window covered the ground, as if it was covered with a layer of frost. The north wind whistled, and the camphor tree branches in the hotel flower bed kept making sounds. The entire bedroom was as quiet as ink. Ever since that day, when Chun Jiabao shook his hand and gave Shiwan a slap, Guyi had called Chun Jiabao over to take a few additional scenes. Chun Jiabao had thought that her acting skills that day were commendable, but he had not expected that she would have to take additional scenes. In her confusion, she looked at Guyi, only to see a faint smile on his face. His eyes were filled with ridicule, and her heart was filled with doubt. She sent her assistant to inquire, but she could not find anything out. After filming, Guyi only said meaningfully, "Don't think you're so smart in the future." She was shocked and embarrassed. After filming, she didn't dare to do anything else. She only hid the growing dissatisfaction and jealousy towards Jiang Shiwan deep in her heart. Chun Jiabao put away his thoughts and started filming seriously. With the addition of the veteran actor Li Jiang, her acting skills had improved a lot. The atmosphere of the entire filming crew was unprecedentedly good. Days passed, and more supporting roles were completed. Zheng Nuo had become more well-behaved. He no longer invited Shiwan to dinner, but he still looked at Shiwan passionately. Besides that, He looked at Gu Yi defensively, as if he was guarding against a big pervert. As for Gu Yi, he was naturally disdainful. Every time Gu Yi came to discuss the shooting method with Shi Wan, Zheng Nuo could only curse in his heart. Gu Yi, this little b asterisk tch. After the shooting, Zheng Nuo would also emphasize to Shi Wan, this Gu Yi treats you like a weasel paying a New Year's visit to a chicken. He doesn't have good intentions. You have to be careful of him. Don't be fooled by his pretense. Every time at this moment, Shi Wan rolled her eyes at Zheng Nuo politely and said coldly, "Do you think that all the men in the world rely on their lower bodies to think like you?" This slash caused his blood to flow out completely. He fell to the ground and died in battle. Zheng Nu almost swore to the heavens, "Goddess, will I harm you? This Gu Yi really doesn't have good intentions, really. However, Shi Wan already ignored him. Zheng Nuo felt stifled in his heart. Sure enough, that kiss isn't that easy to kiss. In the goddess' heart, he was already equivalent to a brainless man who relied on his lower body to think. How could he change this godforsaken impression? He waited online and begged urgently. In the blink of an eye, it was the end of December. Today was the 24th, Christmas Eve. Originally, everyone did not pay much attention to this kind of foreign festival. But now that the economy was rich and the pressure of work was great, in addition to the fact that businesses wished that every day was a festival, they wished that everyone would come and promote the growth of the national GDP. Therefore, this kind of foreign festival was being celebrated by more and more people. Early in the morning, the friends of the film crew gave each other apples and said auspicious words. It was very lively. Shi Wan was usually popular mainly because Zheng Nuo knew how to buy people's hearts. Therefore, in the morning, the apples that she received could not even be packed in 2 boxes. Hemin looked at the apples that were filled to the brim. We could stop buying fruits for a while, but with so many apples, will we eat them until we spit them out? Send them to the nearby orphanage. If she remembered correctly, the nearest orphanage was only an hour away from here. Right, since everyone has given me so many apples, you can also buy me a few boxes to give to them later. Okay, Hemin agreed. I've already sent them for you. Zheng Nuo immediately took credit for it. Hemin said, "You're really quick." Then, Zheng Nuo looked at Shi Wan and stammered. Shi Wan looked at him. "What do you want to say?" "That Shi Wan, on New Year's Day, my father's 60th birthday, can you go with me?" Shi Wan looked at Zheng Nuo. No, she was not sick. His father was celebrating his birthday. Why would she go? Why? There's no why. I'm not going. Go, Shi Wan. Go, Shi Wan. Zheng Nuo was like a husky. He looked at Shi Wan innocently and pitifully. Go, Shi Wan. I told my friend that I would bring you there. I'm not going. If it weren't for the fact that she was a light-hearted person and couldn't ask the company to change her manager, he would have been replaced long ago. You're my artiste. Your artiste should go with you. We're friends. Really, isn't it? Shi Wan didn't say anything. Zheng Nuo felt his heart ache for a moment. Jiang Shi Wan. Shi Wan looked up at him and saw the cheeky Zheng Nuo with a rare, serious face. In your heart, am I a dispensable existence? Shi Wan didn't say anything. Zheng Nuo laughed. However, this laughter was uglier than crying. He couldn't help but turn his head so that no one could see his sorry state. Hemin looked at the increasingly tense atmosphere between him and Shi Wan and saw the usually cheeky Zheng Nuo become so unfamiliar. She couldn't help but say to Shi Wan, go. You've been tired in H's shop for so long. It's time for you to relax. Shi Wan narrowed her eyes and looked at Hemin. Hemin felt weak under Shi Wan's gaze, but she still insisted on her opinion. After all, she always felt that Zheng Nuo was very pitiful. Hemin, who used to be in high spirits, put down his body and played a clown. He persistently pursued Shi Wan, but he did not get any response. Sometimes, looking at her like this, she could not help but think of her in university. She was also like a fool, constantly pursuing the Prince Charming in her school, but she did not get any response. She was even regarded as a lunatic by the people around her. She understood that feeling too well. It was uncomfortable. It was depressing. Go, Shi Wan. It's just a banquet. Zheng Nuo's father's birthday banquet will definitely allow you to meet many elites from all walks of life. Zheng Nuo looked at the ceiling for a long time. Sorry, it's me. I'll go. Perhaps it was because Min's gaze moved her, or perhaps it was because Zheng Nuo's sorrowful tone moved her. She compromised. I'll go. Really? Zheng Nuo instantly recovered his strength. His large eyes stared straight at Shiwan, full of disbelief. Yes. The next day, Christmas. Before dawn, Min excitedly woke 11-1 up. Look, it's snowing, it's snowing. Shiwan frowned and retracted her head into the quilt. It's 6:40. You've already slept in for 10 minutes today. Get up, get up. Got it. Min sighed. Sigh. Shiwan was good at everything except sleeping in. However, the weather was freezing. The others were probably still sleeping under the blanket. Sure enough, it was not easy for everyone in all walks of life. Shiwan got up with difficulty and put on her down jacket. She pulled open the curtains and looked at the huge snowfall outside the window. In her memories, she had not seen such snowflakes for several years. Min was very excited. This snow is different from the snow in RB City. Yes, this snow looks much gentler. The snow in B City was really the scenery of the northern country. Thousands of miles of ice and thousands of miles of snow. As for the snow in Z province, it was gentle and graceful. It was extremely similar to the beautiful beauty in Jiangnan. Yes, Shiwan looked at the snow outside the window in a daze. Min looked at Shiwan's daze back and felt that Shiwan, who was the closest, had an indescribable sense of alienation when she was quiet. When Shiwan arrived at the set, most of the people were cheering for the first snow in Province C. Many people were jumping in the snow and taking photos. At this time, it's time for fried chicken and beer. Xiaoqin looked at the flying snowflakes and couldn't help but sigh. Go buy it, Guyi replied. Therefore, after the first scene, Xiaoqin came back with a few workers carrying German beer and fried chicken wings behind him. Guyi called for everyone, come, everyone, come eat. Merry Christmas. Everyone. Wow. Everyone swarmed forward like they were celebrating. The year before last, Bangguo's You from Mars had become popular throughout China. The male and female leads in it had ushered in a new peak, and their endorsement products could be seen everywhere on the streets and alleys. The fried chicken and beer in the drama had become the favorite Weibo post of all the celebrities and internet celebrities. It's snowing, fried chicken and beer are more compatible. At that time, her assistant also said to her, Shiwan, the fried chicken and beer joke has become very popular recently. Shall we have one too? At that time, she snorted coldly. I hope this kind of junk food joke doesn't appear on my Weibo. Now, she held the fried chicken wings in one hand and a can of beer in the other. She took a selfie and uploaded it on Weibo. It's snowing. The snow in the south is quite delicate. Fried chicken and beer, old joke. The director is treating. It's rare. P.S. Merry Christmas, everyone. As time passed and the environment forced them, people would gradually become the person they hated in the beginning. Look, didn't she do something that she used to look down on? Yesterday, Sister Lisa sent a message. She said, Shiwan, ever since you deleted your Weibo that day, you haven't posted a single Weibo post. Do you know that your real-time trending number has become very low? So this time, when she posted a new Weibo post, the joke was still something that she used to look down on. The true love fans at the bottom were already shouting, Goddess, I love you. The anti-fans were also active. Little b asterisk tch, you're here to show off again. Xiaotsong also forwarded this Weibo post. Stingy director at Guyi V is treating. It's really too rare. The rest of the crew also forwarded it. Guyi forwarded Xiao Tsong's post. Even if I'm treating you guys to food, I have to take a bullet. Bye-bye. Tired of love // Xiao Tsong V. Chief director at Guyi V is treating you to Doge. It's really rare. Then, the official V of the Tang Dynasty crew also forwarded Gu Ye's Weibo post. The snow today was really nice. Did you guys eat fried chicken and beer? Hug, and wish everyone a Merry Christmas. // Gu Yi V. Even if I'm treating you guys to food, I have to take a bullet. Bye-bye. Tired of love // Xiao Tsong V. Chief director at Guyi V is treating you to doge. It's really rare. The topic of the records of the geisha of the Tang dynasty, which had lost its popularity, became hot again in the blink of an eye. Everyone started another round of discussion about the plot. Of course, that was for later. After Shiwan posted on Weibo, she put down the beer and fried chicken in her hands and handed it to Hemin. Hemin, you don't want to eat? I don't like to eat. Then what do you want to eat? Zheng Nuo stood to the side and saw that his goddess did not eat the fried chicken and beer that Gu Yi sent. He was very satisfied. No. Shiwan, let's go back to Be City on the 30th. What do you think? Okay. Shiwan did not even raise her head. She was only focused on scrolling through Weibo when she saw Chan Jiabao's V post. Seeing someone acting cool, I feel that this world is indeed very fake. Hee. Was he alluding to her? But she was right. It was fake, but what did it have to do with her? Right now, the only thing she had to do was to make her popularity and status stronger than Sun Wanyu, although it was very difficult. The hierarchy in the entertainment industry was still very strict. Even if you were more popular than this senior, as long as that senior had been popular before, she would always be higher than you, unless you were a few levels above her. The current Sun Wanyu, after stepping on Jiang Shiwan's Best Actress who won the Golden Time Award, fainted again, retreated in a rush, went to give birth, and then cooked a bowl of chicken soup for the soul every now and then. She was kind and beautiful, and was praised by the internet trolls gradually. She was portrayed by her company and fans as an A-list diva, a goddess. Ding dong. Another message from someone from the intersect. Shiwan refreshed the message and saw that it was indeed Miss Lee. Lian, I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat. Shiwan. Ding dong. A new friend? This should be a fan reply from someone she had followed before. Shiwan clicked on it and took a look. Li Zhanvi. Shiwan was so scared that she almost dropped her phone on the ground. Boss June had only replied to her fan reply after so long. It was too scary. Then, there was another ding-dong. Li Zhanvi replies to Li Yin-Vi. Junk food, not allowed to eat. Shiwan went Spartan. Why was the boss online during the day? This didn't make sense. Hemin looked at Shiwan's changing expression and was puzzled. Zheng Nuo saw that Shiwan didn't care about him anymore. Instead, she was scrolling through Weibo. He sat next to her and watched her scrolling through Weibo. Shiwan only posted a selfie of fried chicken and beer. The comments and reposts under it were rapidly increasing. Any comment would instantly sink. Zheng Nuo looked at Shiwan's 6 million fans. Most of them were a bunch of howling wolves. He couldn't help but sigh. So many love rivals. Ding dong. Shiwan took a look and saw that it was a private message. La la la. Quickly thank me. It was from Li Yin. Jiang Shiwan 06V. Li Yin V. I got my brother's account to follow you. Jiang Shiwan 06V. Damn. Li Yin V. I heard from Zheng Nuo that you will attend my uncle's birthday banquet. Shiwan. Zheng Nuo. Jiang Shiwan 06V. Yeah. Li Yin V. What happened to courting my brother? Shiwan thought about it and replied, your brother and I can hook up at the birthday banquet too. Li Yin V. Okay, I look forward to seeing you at the birthday banquet. On the night of the 29th, Zheng Nuo was very excited and handed the ticket to Shiwan. Tomorrow's noon flight. Yay, yay, yay. Shiwan looked at Zheng Nuo as if she was looking at a lunatic. She replied, oh, you can leave it. Then she said, it's getting late, you can leave now. She politely chased him away. Zheng Nuo was very happy. Okay. You have to sleep early, or else you won't be able to catch the flight. Then he left happily. Hemin, who was at the side, was speechless. This clown, which monkey mountain did he come from? After returning to his room, Zheng Nuo still could not calm down his excitement for a long time. At this moment, he wished that he could share his happiness with the whole world. Therefore, he took out his phone and took 3 photos of the plane tickets. Then, he coded the name of the plane ticket, the flight number, the seat number, and the time on the photos. One could see the word plane ticket on the photo. Zheng Nuo posted the photo on Weibo. I haven't been back to Be City for a few months. I missed everyone so much. Mina Zong. I'll see you in Be City later. The moment this post was posted, his friends who had not seen him for a long time also came over. F***CK. Taking 3 first-class cabins? Without waiting for Zheng Nua's reply, B replied, "You must have lost your mind with the women. There are obviously 3 of them. But may I ask, are you going back to be city with the goddess? What flight? Please pick me up." F***CK off, Zheng Nuo replied to B. I commented again, F***CK, are we still brothers? B said, HMPH, you're too bad. Back then, I introduced you to all the good resources I had. You're just burning bridges after crossing the river. Zheng Nu once again replied to B, don't compare your previous Ying to my goddess. Those women aren't even qualified to serve my goddess at foot-washing water. Coincidentally, a Ying wild model saw Zheng Nua's unreasonable remarks and was very angry. Young Master Zheng, how can you say that? No matter what, we've known each other for a while. Buddha said that 100 years of cultivation can bring us together, and 1,000 years of cultivation can bring us together. Zheng Nua looked at this comment and was shocked. What the hell? He immediately deleted the comment. Then, he looked at her profile picture. She had an all face and a thick layer of pink. Her eyes were so closed that they were almost popping out. Her nose bridge was so high that he could not bear to look at her. The snake spirit's chin had stabbed someone to death. This woman had slept with him? He was not sure either. Damn, how blind was he back then? Quickly blacklist her and blacklist her. Out of sight, out of mind. As Zheng Nuo was now certified as Jiang Shiwan's manager, there were quite a number of Shiwan's fans among Zheng Nuo's fans. They saw that Zheng Nuo had posted a Weibo message, and all of them said, requesting flight frequency. We'll pick you up. Zheng Nuo chuckled. He didn't want to tell these love rivals. La 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 la. Zheng Nuo was in a good mood and hummed a song that didn't look like anything. Then he lay down on the bed, closed his eyes, and fell asleep. Helplessly, he felt as if he had taken a stimulant and his mind was clear. The phrase extreme joy begets sorrow should be used at this moment. When Zheng Nuo got up, his eyes were as black as a national treasure. However, even though he was lightheaded, he was still in a state of excitement. Shiwan and He Min were packing their luggage. When they came out, they saw Zheng Nuo with 2 panda eyes and a white suitcase. He was standing at the entrance of the hotel, waiting for them. He Min smacked her lips. I'm impressed. Morning, Shiwan. Morning. The 3 of them called a taxi and headed straight to City H's Shishan Airport. Along the way, other than Shiwan, the other 2 were more excited. He Min was very excited. I've been out for so many days. Although I don't have much work, I don't have much time for holidays. Now that I have 3 days of free time, I don't know what to do. Zheng Nuo glanced at He Min. Good for you. Shiwan smiled. Not bad. You probably had a headache right now. The truth was the same. The female lead said that she would ask for 2 days off for New Year's Day. That was too willful. Gu Yi supported his head with one hand and complained with the other. Looks like this scene will have to slow down again. But it didn't matter. After all, the filming process was much faster than the original schedule. When they arrived at Shishan Airport, it was 9:30 in the morning. Their flight was at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, so they still had some time. Shiwan and He Min went to the supermarket to buy a few bottles of water. After eating some food, they sat in the VIP lounge of the departure hall and waited for their flight. Then, Zheng Nuo went to the bathroom first, and He Min followed him. Shiwan sat in her seat and started playing a small game on her phone. When she was engrossed in the game, she heard a low male voice in Shiwan's ear. Hello, madam. Is there anyone sitting next to you? This familiar voice exploded in Shiwan's head. Shiwan felt her body stiffen, and her mind went blank. Bang! The fruit machine in her hand fell to the ground, and the screen shattered into fireworks. I'm sorry, ma'am. The man who asked the question obviously did not expect such an outcome. His eyes were full of surprise. I'll give you another phone. How about it? Shiwan raised her head, and her eyes met with his. Lin Shi. This man, whom she had been avoiding since her rebirth, appeared in front of her just like that, caught off guard. He was still as handsome and elegant as ever. He was dressed in a black Italian high-class custom-made suit, which made his body look as straight as a pine tree. The gold-rimmed diamond cuffs on his sleeves shone dazzlingly under the light, giving him a luxurious air. She thought that in half a year's time, Although it would not be enough for her to forget about this betrayed relationship and the culprit who had made her look like this, it should have faded away. But when she saw it, she realized that it was not the case. She did not put all of her love for him down. All of her love had turned into all of her hatred. She hated him as much as she loved him back then. And this strong hatred was so strong that she wanted to grab him and kick him violently. She reprimanded him harshly. Why could he still live in peace even though she was dead? 7 years of being together day and night. Was it really not worth anything in his heart? It hurt so much. Every question was like a knife, one knife after another, cutting his own heart. It was so funny. She had been silently bleeding her wounds all this time. He had already sailed over 10,000 mountains. She still hated him in her heart. He had already let go of the past and started a new life leisurely. She was really nothing. Haha, she was really funny. How could she and he have a past? How could they have a past? Madam, Lynn, she narrowed her peach-shaped eyes. Then give me your bank card. I could transfer the money to you now. Oh, she responded lightly. She lowered her body and picked up the phone whose screen was shattered like fireworks. She put away the overwhelming emotions in her heart. She tried her best to use her best acting skills to cover up the loss of control at this moment. Look, she was indeed the best actress. What's wrong, Shiwan? As soon as Zheng Nuo came in, he saw an elite in a suit standing beside Shiwan. He couldn't help but feel jealous. He had just gone to the bathroom when a blind fly flew over. Shiwan. Lin Shi's voice suddenly rose. Then he felt that he had lost his composure and asked softly, "Your name is Shiwan?" Shiwan glanced at him with a mocking look in her eyes. "There are people sitting here, sir." Zheng Nuo frowned. "It's none of your business what she's called." Zheng Nuo had never been a good-tempered person. Seeing that this man was still pestering him so relentlessly, he opened his mouth and turned his head, only to find that this person looked very familiar. After thinking for a long time, he finally matched this person with a name in his memory. "Oh, this is Huafeng CEO Lin Shi. Why, seeing that I, Shiwan, have such great qualifications, are you trying to poach me?" So it was a female celebrity. Lin Shi originally did not pay attention to this noisy man. Seeing that he recognized her, she could not help but turn her gaze to Zheng Nuo. She narrowed her eyes and said, "I know who it is. It's young Master Zheng, who is often on the entertainment headlines. Nice to meet you." Zheng narrowed his eyes. "Those headlines of mine are just small matters. How many people have assumed that you, who are in the entertainment industry, are very clear about it? But you made the newly promoted movie queen willingly quit acting and get pregnant to have a child. Movie queens Sue even frequently flaunted their love on Weibo, making everyone envious. Sigh, when can I be as beautiful as you?" When Yimin heard Zheng Nuo's venomous words, she was a little stunned. What happened exposing each other's shortcomings? Zheng Nuo had not only stabbed Lin Shi, he had also stabbed Shiwan. Shiwan stood up. "Let's go." Lin Shi frowned. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. As the CEO of Huafeng, countless women were willing to stick themselves to him. Even if they did not want to stick themselves to him, they had always been kind to him. Unlike her, even if she knew his identity, she was still cold and unfeeling. So, was she playing hard to get? Spreading his hands, Lin Shi had already labeled Shiwan as playing hard to get. She had successfully attracted his attention. Zheng Nuo heard Shiwan's instructions and ignored Lin Shi. "It's almost time. Let's go. Give me your bank card number. I'm not used to owing people favors." Lin Shi stopped the three of them. Shiwan said coldly, "I just dropped it by accident. It has nothing to do with you. If you have more money, donate it to the orphanage." Zheng Nuo smiled provocatively at Lin Shi. "Lin, we're not going to meet." Lin Shi watched the three of them leave and only frowned, not saying anything to stop them. Coincidentally, the secretary bought some mineral water and went back to Lin Shi's side. "Boss, please have some water." Lin Shi took the water, leaned her head on the chair, and squinted. "Is there another person called Shiwan in the entertainment industry?" The secretary was stunned. "I think there's one, but she hasn't officially debuted yet." "She hasn't debuted yet?" The newcomer that Sky Shadow is supporting seems to be called Jiang Shuan. Bang! The water in Lin Shi's hand fell on the ground. Suddenly, she opened her eyes and looked at her secretary. Jiang Shuan. The secretary looked at Lin. She had lost her composure and thought of the person in her mind. She couldn't help but sigh. Sigh. Speaking of which, he really didn't expect that Sister Shiwan, who is usually cheerful and optimistic and proud like a peacock, would have such a poor tolerance. It was just an indecent video, and she committed suicide. What a pity. In the end, Sun Wan Yu, this woman had benefited. Sigh. Speaking of which, this Sun Wan Yu is also guilty. He calculated that the time when she was pregnant was around the time that Sister Shiwan had an accident. It was fortunate that while she was putting on a show of sisterly love in front of the entire nation, she was secretly cheating her best friend's man into bed. Sigh. Sister Shiwan probably did not know that her best friend had slept with her man until her death. How pitiful. It was fortunate that Sister Shiwan was so good to her, and it really did answer that saying, a whore is heartless, and an actress is heartless. Forget it. This woman could be considered half a boss's wife now, so he'd better say less. It's just San Shuixi in Yuanwan. I was shocked when I heard this name from my friends. The secretary stopped thinking and replied. Lin Shi nodded. I got it. Jiang Shuan, Jiang Shuan. He lost Jiang Shuan. So God sent back another Jiang Shuan? He slowly read her name in his heart, and for some reason, her beautiful face gradually overlapped with that incomparably beautiful face. Shuan, did you come back? He smiled bitterly. He imagined it again. People always understand how precious it is after they have lost it. It was only after she died that he suddenly realized that she was his rib. Without her, he would never be complete again. In fact, from the beginning to the end, he could not understand why he would hurt her that day and say such outrageous words. Now that he thought about it, he must have been possessed back then. People said that pearls and jade were before the eyes, and fish eyes were unbearable to the eye. However, he already had such a good girl, yet she was still mixed with fish eyes. Change your flight. I'm not going to S City anymore. Change my flight back to B City as soon as possible. The secretary's face was sour. She picked up her IP-80 and checked. There's only one flight back to B City today, but it's 11 o'clock. It's already 10:20. There's still 40 minutes left. Go buy the tickets. Boss, are you kidding me? Even if it was a domestic flight, the airport had to buy the tickets 3 hours in advance. 40 minutes? I'll show you. I'm just a secretary, not a robot cat. Lin, she looked at her secretary's bitter face and touched her forehead. She knew that she had been put in a difficult position. Forget it. Since she knew her name, she would be able to see him again in the future. The secretary let out a sigh of relief. It's all right, it's all right. When they boarded the plane, Zheng Nuo could not suppress his curiosity. What happened just now? How did you meet that idiot? Why did your phone fall to such a state? Why didn't you ask him to pay for it? He has a lot of money. Shuan rolled her eyes at him. Are you a curious baby? Zheng Nuo. I'm very tired now. I just want to sleep. Don't talk to me anymore. Zheng Nuo. Okay. Perhaps she was really tired. The moment Shuan boarded the plane, she put on the blindfold and fell into a deep sleep. In her dream, it was still the same heart-wrenching pain. She could only cry softly under the pressure. She won. She won. She won. What happened to you? Zheng Nuo woke Shuan up with a peek. Shuan took off her blindfold and inhaled deeply. What's wrong? Is your chest uncomfortable? Do you need oxygen? It was the first time Zheng Nuo had seen such a fragile Shuan. His heart was tense. Shuan looked at Zheng Nuo's concerned face and waved her hand. It's nothing. I just had a nightmare. What time is it? It's 1 p.m. We should be landing soon. Shuan nodded. Then she looked at the scenery outside the window. The green fields and yellow villages were faintly discernible in the clouds. It was like a picture scroll that described life. The beautiful voice of the stewardess came from the broadcast. Not long after, the plane landed at the Capital International Airport in B City. After being separated for months, they finally returned to B City. They could not help but feel a sense of belonging. When they walked out of the airport's VIP channel, they saw Wu Yang standing there waiting for them. Here, here, Zheng Nuo said. Didn't I ask Uncle Su to pick you up? Why are you here? Uncle Su's wife had a small car accident yesterday. He went back to take care of his wife. It wasn't me who wanted to pick you up. It was Boss who ordered me. My cousin. Yes, Boss is in the car. Shiwan was shocked when she heard Wu Yang's words. That expressionless face naturally appeared in her mind. My brother Jean is in the car? Zheng Nuo looked at him in shock. Did I hear wrongly just now? F***CK. That workaholic would come out to pick him up during work hours. F***CK. When did they become so close he was so touched that he was about to cry? No. Wu Yang pursed his lips, then looked at Zheng Nuo's incredulous expression. He said, I just can't pick you guys up. At 3 o'clock, Boss and Mr. Joyce from Country M will have a contract to sign at the Peace Building, so everyone get in the car. As expected, Zheng Nuo pursed his lips. Wu Yang and Hemin put their luggage in the trunk of the car, while Shiwan and Zheng Nuo sat in the back seat. The moment they opened the car door, they saw Li Zhan flipping through the documents. Hello, Boss. Shiwan greeted him first. Li Zhan heard the sound of the car door opening. He turned his head slightly and nodded. Then, he lowered his head and continued to read the documents. Shiwan, what a cold boss. Brother Jean, long time no see. Zheng Nuo came forward with a smile. Li Zhan ignored him. Zheng Nuo continued to come closer. Why are you still the same ice-cold face that hasn't changed for thousands of years? If this continues, what will we do? Hey, how did you give birth to a son? He didn't have the bearing of the Zheng family at all. Have fun. Li Zhan put down the document in his hand and looked at Zheng Nuo. How am I having fun? I'm going to work. Zheng Nuo refuted with a red face. Oh, is that so? Li Zhan still looked at Zheng Nuo with a half-smile. Then his gaze shifted to Jiang Shuan and then back to Zheng Nuo. The Z Province television station has a very popular reality show recently. It's called the third season of Goddess. It seems to have sent an announcement to your artiste, Jiang Shuan. Wu Yang said you rejected it. Zhang Thaf asked her CK. He actually said this out loud. Li Zhan, bromance broken. Shiwan frowned and looked at Zheng Nuo as well. When did this happen? Speaking of which, ever since the Fruit Channel had taken over the copyright of the Korean reality show 2 years ago, not only had the ratings been off the charts, but they had also completely outdone their friends. Their reputation was even good. As for the guests who participated in the reality show, most of them were small fry or big shots who had been out of fashion for a long time. Some of them were even artistes with dark histories. However, by participating in the reality show, many of them had found a spring in their career hallelujah once again. In order to eat a piece of cake, the other large-scale satellite channels in the country also followed the example of the Fruit Channel. Among them, Province Z Satellite Channel 2 was the most popular. Channel 2 spent a huge amount of money to create the most popular goddess in Great Country. Moreover, they invited the goddess with the highest reputation on the internet. As soon as she made her move, she snatched more than half of the cake from the Fruit Channel that had already swallowed a big bite of the cake. As the saying went, the first person ate meat, the second person drank soup, and the third person could only watch. This saying described how the various satellite channels relied on reality shows to snatch the viewership ratings. It was not far off. Although other satellite TV stations also launched many strange reality TV shows after Channel 2, they could not compare to these two satellite TV stations with a high public foundation. They could only watch these two satellite TV stations eat meat and drink soup, and their eyes were red with envy and anxiety. Channel 2's Goddess was considered a top show in the country. Therefore, even if they did not take the initiative to invite her, there were still countless big and small celebrities who extended an olive branch to them. The program team of Goddess had chosen Jiang Shuan this time because, apart from her extremely high popularity on the internet, she had also passed through the keen eyes of director Mao Guyi. They also heard that she was a newcomer that Sky Shadow had supported. It seemed that she had endless potential in the future. Therefore, after the program team's director, Mr. Xie, learned about Jiang Shuan's situation, he immediately decided to invite her to be a guest for an episode of Goddess. Firstly, he wanted to sell her well, and secondly, He hoped that the viewership ratings would soar to a new high. However, he had never expected that the olive branch that he had thrown out would actually be rejected. Zheng Nuo had originally planned to keep this matter under wraps. He had not expected that this matter would be exposed the moment he returned to the capital and met up with his cousin. This was simply too much. He saw that Shiwan was looking at him with a calm expression, and then he saw that his cousin was also looking at him with an expressionless face. F***CK, so irritable. Then he said nonsense with a straight face. You have to walk the high and mighty line. How can you participate in such a rustic show? He would never let his goddess participate in a show that required him to hug and carry the male guest around HMPH. Shiwan looked at the nervous Zheng Nuo with his big eyes and laughed. Yes, you're right. Zheng Nuo heaved a sigh of relief. But you have to let me know. Zheng Nuo. It was true that Shiwan did not want to participate in this kind of reality show. Back then, both the Fruit Channel and Channel 2 had offered an astronomical price to invite her, but she had rejected them one by one. Although the price of a reality show was high, as long as she took 10 days to half a month and played games every day, she would be able to earn enough money to earn enough popularity and attract enough fans. Compared to the months and years that she spent on filming movies and television dramas, it was really a good deal. But she did not like it. This was because reality shows, even though they were under the banner of restoring the true appearance of celebrity, were actually all scripts that everyone had. The truth that they displayed was the truth that the audience wanted to see, but in the end, it was still fake. This was not her in real life, so she did not want to go. In any case, her money, her status, and her popularity did not need any icing on the cake. However, this time, she was still a little invisible. The director of the Goddess program team would still extend an olive branch to her. Obviously, he was giving face to Sky Shadow. If Sky Shadow wanted her to appear on reality shows, she could consider it. After all, the current her, whether it was in terms of popularity or status, could not be compared to her in the past. It could be said that the most popular people in the entertainment industry, if anyone could not stand her, with just a slight move of their lips, they could make her suffer. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Zheng Nuo nodded. Wu Yang, who was driving, was greatly shocked. F***CK. This is the second generation. Zheng Nuo, could it be that he was possessed by someone else? He could actually be so obedient. If the boss's uncle knew that his son could be so obedient, he would probably cry. Li Zhan looked at his cousin, then at Shiwan. This face was indeed beautiful. No wonder his cousin fell into it the moment he saw it. He didn't take over the huge Zheng corporation and just focused on being a manager. However, even though Jiang Shiwan was smiling and saying hello to everyone, creating a harmonious atmosphere, there was still a sense of alienation in her eyes. It was as if she was another version of herself, and no one could get close to her. She was not someone that his cousin could take down. He had felt this way from the beginning and still felt the same. Even though his cousin had stayed with her in Store H for a few months, she and her cousin still had a hot relationship. Everyone has their own destiny. Wu Yang first sent Li Zhan to the place where the contract was signed. Then, he drove Shiwan and the rest back to Tianing Media Company. He said, Nuo's car is in the garage. The keys are with Secretary Chun. I'm going to boss his place. Then he left. Zheng Nuo complained, my brother Zhan is a workaholic. He can't stand it. Shiwan couldn't be bothered to complain to Zheng Nuo. Even if you don't have any ambition, you're still so cocky. Hemin said, I'll go home first. Goodbye. Shiwan nodded. Zheng Nuo said, this chick's eyesight is pretty good. No wonder Sister Lisa assigned her to be Shiwan's assistant. What are we going to do later? Shiwan looked at Zheng Nuo. Not going back. I'll accompany you. Shiwan's forehead twitched. Thank you so much. Her. Shiwan planned to put her luggage back in the company's dormitory. So Zheng Nuo drove her luggage back to Qinshui apartment. When they reached the apartment, they opened the door and saw dust flying in the air. F***CK. Zheng Nuo cursed. So dirty. Okay. She and Lian were filming in H's shop and had not returned to this place for a while. When they went out, they were in a hurry and forgot to tell the company's dormitory management to call the cleaning lady. As time passed, they became like this. This fellow, Lian, returned to B City a few days ago. Why didn't she come over to clean up? Zheng Nuo pursed his lips. Shiwan knew that she was not in B City, and Li Yin would not come over to live in this house alone. Although Zheng Nuo was not a germaphobe, looking at the house full of dust, he was very cautious. I think it's all the part-time worker, and it won't be clean for more than an hour. During this period, can we go to the restaurant to eat? As he said this, his eyes lit up. Shiwan saw that she could not handle the house full of dust alone, so she agreed with Zheng Nuo. Zheng Nuo called the Annie who specialized in cleaning his house, and then he planned to bring Shiwan to the restaurant. He felt all kinds of happiness in his heart. Date, 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 date. ZZ. Shiwan's phone rang. Shiwan took it out and saw that it was Li Yin who called. You're back in B City now, right? Yes. Let's have dinner together later. I remember you said that you would treat me to hot pot in B City. Shiwan, didn't I treat you to hot pot once at H restaurant? That was the hot pot you invited me to for a welcoming dinner. This time, it's the hot pot in City B that you mentioned on Weibo. How can it be the same? Shiwan, you win. Where are you now? I'm coming to find you. Okay, then let's go to Sea and Sky Hot Pot City. Shiwan looked at Zheng Nuo. Zheng Nuo. Okay, then I'll see you in Hot Pot City later. Li Yin laughed. Zheng Nuo was driving at the side and naturally heard the conversation between the two of them. He couldn't help but say no. We'll have dinner together later. He had already planned to have a candlelit dinner. What was the meaning of Li Yin coming over to kill him? And she even want to eat the smelly hot pot? F***CK. How could there be such a cousin? Didn't he know that his cousin was chasing after a beauty? F***CK. If it wasn't for the modern society that forbade cousins from marrying, he would have thought that this guy deliberately sabotaged him because he fancied him. F***CK. Why is Zheng Nuo beside you? Li Yin's voice was raised so high that the entire carriage could be heard clearly. You talk so much. Zheng Nuo shouted. Come or not. A candlelit dinner suddenly turned into a hot pot meal. Just thinking about it made her depressed. She still despised the 3 and 4. Did you know how to write the idiom first come, first serve? See Sky Hot Pot City. Because it was too late for afternoon tea and too early for dinner, there were fewer people in Sea Sky Hot Pot City than during peak hours. It was much easier for the two of them to get a private room than usual. The two of them ordered soup and side dishes first, and then some snacks and drinks. Then, they waited for Li Yin to come over. Li Yin came over at a considerable speed. In less than 20 minutes, she arrived at the private room. She saw that Zheng Nuo revealed a constipated face when he saw her. She could not help but be in a good mood. She said sarcastically, Why are you like a follower? Shiwan and I have to follow you even when we come over for a meal. Zheng Nuo's chest heaved up and down fiercely. He had seen clearly what it meant to reverse black, and white this mouth on Li Yin was used to infuriate people to death. After speaking, Li Yin sat opposite Shiwan. I ordered all my favorite food. Not bad, but it's a little too little. You can brag after you finish eating. Zheng Nuo replied unhappily. Li Yin ignored him and only looked at Shiwan. Last week, I was on the goddess announcement. I heard from the program team that they also invited you. You rejected them. Why? I don't like it. Tisk, that's a powerful tool to attract fans. So many female celebrities are begging to be on it. You, a little transparent, rejected them just because you don't like it. Your brain isn't stuck in the door, is it? Eating can't even shut your mouth. Zheng Nuo interrupted in a bad mood. It wasn't easy for her to get this matter over with, but she brought it up again. Li Yin and Brother Zhan were indeed blood-related siblings. They didn't even blink when they cheated their cousins. Li Yin glared at Zheng Nuo. Zheng Nuo glared back at Li Yin. Ding. Both parties weren't willing to show weakness. Shiwan, aren't you guys going to eat? This fish tofu isn't bad. Oh, that's mine. The two siblings said in unison. When she was 80% full, Li Yin stopped eating. Then, as though she remembered something, she asked, Are you going to sleep at Qin Shui condominium tonight? In. All right then. I will move in as well. Actually, sister, saying that you love Jiang, it was just an excuse. But you were actually in love with Shiwan, right? Who had always said that the most annoying classmate ever since university was Jiang Shiwan F***CK. Even if you want to cling on to her, how could you be called annoying? I read a lot. And you can't fool me. Zheng Nuo cursed in his heart. Are you embarrassed? You have been back for so long, and you don't even know how to call for a part-time worker to clean the house. Li Yin blushed with embarrassment. Only then did she remember that during the days when she returned to City B, she hadn't been to Qinshui condominium even once. Every day, she was busy returning to school to look for Jiang Yi. Now that she thought about it, it was true. It had been 2 months since she had cleaned the house. The dust must have been thick, and even if she had asked the part-time workers to clean the house today, the house would still be wet. Then, Lian seemed to have thought of something. Then, Shiwan, why don't you stay at my house today? Shiwan looked at Li Yin with an expression that said, what kind of joke is this? Li Yin nodded. She felt that this idea of hers was too smart. Oh yeah, who said that she only had big breasts but no brains? She just threw a punch. Just as Shiwan wanted to reject him, she received Li Yan's wink. This hint was naked as she said to her, didn't you say you're going to chase my brother? On second thought, it made sense. Based on the boss's interaction with her today, it would be a miracle if there were any sparks between them. Although the agreement they signed last time was not reliable, since they had agreed, then they should do it. In any case, to her, there were only benefits and no disadvantages. However, Zheng Nuo, who was at the side, could not accept it. He glared at Li Yin and said, why are you staying at your house? Although Brother Jean was not interested in Shiwan, what if 11 Wan was interested in Brother Jean? He would never forget that Brother Jean with a heartthrob look at Shiwan, who usually never took the initiative to greet others. Today, the moment she opened the car door, she greeted Brother Jean. Although it was possible that it was because Brother Jean was her boss. But it was better to be safe than sorry, understand? He spread his hands. In the future, whoever said that men were careless and careless, Zheng Nuo would spit on his face every minute. Li Yin heard Zheng Nuo's words and could not help but laugh. She asked in return, are you still staying at your house? Of course. Zheng Nuo's voice had just risen when he received Shiwan's faint gaze. He could not help but whisper, stay at your place. Okay, then Shiwan, stay at my place tonight. The moon was bright, the stars were sparse, and the cold wind was freezing. The fiery red Ferrari sped along the road of City B. The scenery on both sides retreated rapidly, leaving only a few impressionistic lines in sight. The neon lights flickered red, blue, green, and purple. From afar, it looked like a ribbon falling from the Milky Way, dancing in the wind. Shiwan's ears rang with Lian's random tune, jingling, jingling, as if it was a beautiful time. The more the car left the city center, the more familiar Shiwan felt the surrounding buildings. Before long, the car arrived at the neighborhood Shiwan was familiar with, Xingyu Home. There was a villa where she usually stayed. That's right, the first time she met Li Zhan was at the entrance of Xingyu Home. Here, she forced herself to kiss him. Now that she thought about it, how brave was she at that time? She actually kissed such a huge iceberg. Indeed, the ignorant are fearless. At the entrance, Li Yin swiped her key card. When the security guard saw Li Yan's car, he greeted Li Yin, Miss Li, you came today. Yes. Li Yin smiled. The moment the security guard tilted his head, he saw the side of Jiang Shuan and blurted out, you even brought young Miss Li's girlfriend here. The relationship between the sister-in-law was quite harmonious. Goodbye. Li Yin smiled, then stepped on the accelerator and left. The security guard looked at the Ferrari's silhouette and couldn't help but say, of course. As a security guard, you have to rely on your eyesight and strength. One had to know that the two of them had kissed passionately in front of him that day. If he still didn't remember her, he would have long gotten lost. Speaking of which, there were plenty of socialites, models, and actresses living in Xingyue Home. They were all beautiful, but there were too few who looked like young Master Li's girlfriend. Therefore, even though almost half a year had passed, his memory of young Master Li's girlfriend was still fresh in his mind. Thus, he would sigh from time to time, it's great to be rich. You can pick any beauty you want. Li Yin drove the car to the garage and then said to Shi Wan, this is my brother's base. I'll give him a surprise later. It won't turn into a scare, right? At first, she thought that was her home base and that the boss would go back to sleep, but she didn't expect it to be the boss's private base. She felt frustrated. It was too deliberate. She didn't want to make things worse. F***CK. Use all your seductive skills. I don't know how. It's always the men who take the initiative to seduce me, Shiwon replied indifferently. Lian, F***CK. I'm speechless. Shiwon saw Lian's face turn red and continued. But with your brother, we signed an agreement. I'll reluctantly give it a try. Lian, F***CK. Too shameless. Li Zhan's villa was indeed dark. She couldn't help but sigh. My brother, this workaholic, is really too worrying. Shiwon, are you sure you didn't do it the other way around? Lian opened the door and changed her shoes. She wanted to find Shiwon a pair of shoes, but Ming patted her head. I don't have your shoes, and I don't have your clothes to change into. Shiwon, she was really in a hurry. She had forgotten such an important thing. I have a towel to wash up, a spare cup, a toothbrush and toothpaste, and underwear to wash up. I just don't have underwear or a jacket. Lian thought for a moment and then took out her phone. Let my brother buy it. How can I be so stupid? Fortunately, my brother is a workaholic and hasn't gotten off work yet. Shiwon, you're so shameless. If it wasn't for my lifelong happiness, she would have done this. Shiwon, what size are you again? Forget it. I'll continue wearing today's. How dirty. Hurry up and report it. 34C. Even though Shiwon had been in the battlefield for a long time, she couldn't help but blush at this moment. I couldn't tell. Lian glanced at him. He was actually the same size as her. It didn't make sense. The call went through. What's the matter? Li Zhan's cold voice reached Lian's ears. Brother, you haven't gotten off work yet, right? Lian said sneakily. I'm on my way home. What's the matter? I'm at Xingyue's. Oh, help me buy something. I need it urgently. Li Zhan rubbed the space between his eyebrows. What do you want me to buy? Lingerie from 34C. It's pure and sexy, Li Yin said as she winked at Shiwon. Shiwon, Li Zhan on the other end of the phone. He was speechless for a while. You want me to buy it? Li Zhan felt embarrassed when he opened his mouth. You have a room full of spare parts. How could you not have this? I'll give you money later. Go buy it yourself. All right, I'm almost home. Be good. Brother, Li Yin shouted wildly. Don't hang up. Speak. I'm buying it for my friend. I brought her over for the night and didn't change her clothes. Help me, brother. Li Yin began to act coquettishly. Li Zhan frowned and said coldly, Li Yin, you can mess around normally, but this time you've gone too far. Li Yin could hear that her brother, who had always doted on her, was annoyed. She couldn't help but force herself to continue. You know this person too. It's Shiwon. Big brother, please help me. Please. It won't happen again. Li Zhan had a headache. Okay. Li Yin replied readily. Oh, and buy a set of clothes and a shirt. You know what I mean. Li Zhan didn't want to listen anymore, so he hung up the phone and ordered the driver to go to the nearest department store. The department store was still open. He looked at the signs of a shopping mall and went to the underwear store on the 5th floor. Without looking, he said to the salesperson, 2 sets of 34C underwear. The salesperson was a little sleepy. Suddenly, a cold voice entered his ears. He looked up and saw a super handsome man in a suit. He was very excited, but he was here to buy underwear. SOB, this guy is taken HHHH. Why isn't such a handsome man gay? What a waste of God's gift, HHHH. Li Zhan could not help but frown when he saw the salesperson looking at him like he was infatuated. The salesperson had a good eye. He knew that he was staring at him too much, so he immediately retracted his gaze. Okay, sir. Then what style would you like, sir? Sexy, pure, breast tight, front button, back buttoned, or... Li Zhan did not expect that buying underwear would be so long-winded. He could not help but interrupt the salesperson who was talking nonstop. Take 2 of the most expensive ones. The salesperson. What a boring man. In the end, the salesperson took the initiative to pack 2 sexy, front-buttoned underwear. After filling in the form, he asked the cashier next to him to pay. Li Zhan left the underwear counter and left expressionlessly. Many salespeople were excited to see such a man appear in the underwear store. Too handsome, Damn, too handsome. Even Zheng Mingri couldn't compare to him. Such a handsome man actually didn't develop in the entertainment industry. What a waste. In his excitement, he could not help but whisper to each other. In this day and age, there is actually such a handsome man who personally buys underwear for his girlfriend. How fortunate. He really wished that his girlfriend was him. Such a considerate man. How blissful. Li Zhan's hearing had always been very good. In addition, although these people were whispering to each other, the volume of their voices was not low. As he listened, his ears could not help but heat up. He quickened his pace and left this floor. Then, he went to the women's clothing store on the second floor. In his heart, he could not help but curse, troublesome. The women's clothing store was more lively than the lingerie counter. There were also a few customers who were sightseeing. Therefore, the tragedy was that the boss was surrounded by more people. There were even people who took out their phones to secretly take photos. He stared at that person. Delete it. The person who secretly took the photos. He was expressionless. The aura around him told everyone not to touch his bottom line. The person who took out his phone could not help but delete the photos embarrassedly and put away his phone. Those who want to take out their phones did not dare to act rashly. Li Zhan frowned and entered the Burberry closest to him. There was no one else. The salesperson saw Li Zhan and went forward. Sir, is there anything I can help you with? Li Zhan looked around and saw that there was even a sweater here. He could not help but sigh. It saved him from running again. Then, he ordered a white underwear, a white sweater, a plaid wool coat, and black leather pants. It's an S size, I'll take it. Okay. The salesperson's eyes lit up. He just looked around casually and placed a large order. Great. Do you need anything else? We have a lot of new styles of clothes this year. Then, he took out a booklet and planned to show it to Li Zhan. No need. After paying the bill, Li Zhan left the department store quickly. He would never come to such a place again. The driver was sitting in the car, playing with his phone. He looked up and saw the big boss with big and small bags flying over quickly. It seemed that there were some pursuers behind him. He could not help but want to laugh, but he held it in. He could not laugh. He could not laugh. In his memory, this was the first time the boss had bought clothes for others. Drive. Okay, boss. The driver immediately started the car and drove toward the star-happy home. Before long, the car entered. After Li Yin finished the call, she looked at the speechless Shi Wan and said, My brother has never bought clothes for a woman. You earn so much. When she thought about how her brother had not bought clothes for a woman for the first time, she felt stifled. Shi Wan, at this time, supper should be good. And then you cook for my brother. It's impolite not to reciprocate. After saying that, Li Yin continued, Can you use that word? Shi Wan, my brother buys clothes for you, and you cook supper for my brother to improve our relationship. F***CK, I'm so smart, I like it. Shi Wan, I don't know how to do it. How can you not know how to do it? Li Yin was very surprised. Then do you know how to do it? Li Yin choked. It's good to make something casually. It's my heart's desire. What if your brother eats something bad? Then how are you going to pursue my brother? In order to find out if her brother's sexual orientation was normal, she was willing to go all out. When the boat reaches the bridge, it will be straight. I hope it will be straight, but I'm afraid of being gay. Li Yin covered her eyes with one hand and set upon. While the two were still talking, outside the window, the headlights of the car came in through the window, followed by the low hum of the engine. My brother is back. So soon. Li Yin ran over to open the door excitedly. Come over too. Shi Wan. Hashtag, is he going to welcome the guests? Soon, the boss came over with big and small bags. Just as he stepped into the door, he saw that the door was ajar, and he pushed it open. Brother, hello. Then he signaled Shi Wan with his eyes. Go, Shi Wan. Li Yin saw that Shi Wan didn't say anything, and she silently muttered, This is disappointing. If it weren't for the bags in his hands, Li Zhan really wanted to pat his head. Li Zhan nodded to the two of them and handed the bags to Li Yin. He changed his shoes and walked into the house. Li Yin stuffed the bags in her arms into Shi Wan's hands. They're all yours. I'm not coming to take them. Shi Wan. Brother. Li Yin followed. Li Zhan took out a bottle of water from the fridge and looked at his sister, who was following behind him. He was speechless. Why did you think of coming here today? I missed you. Li Jian fake. Li Yin, since you brought your friend over, it's not convenient for me to stay here. I'll return to the old residence later. Li Yan's eyes widened. What? F asterisk CK. He actually wanted to leave just to bring Jiang Shiwan to him. Li Jian did not reply. He put down a crystal cup and walked out. Li Yin grabbed his arm. Brother, don't be like this. Later, my friend will think that you don't like her. Li Jian was speechless. What does it matter if I like her or not? Of course it matters. If you leave, she will think that you don't like her. She will be embarrassed. Brother, I will lose face. Li Jian frowned. Let go. You're not leaving. Got it. Shiwan was sitting in the living room. When she saw the two of them come out, she smiled. She felt very awkward in her heart. Sure enough, listening to Li Yan's bad idea made her feel conflicted. Li Jian nodded at her and said in a cold voice, Suit yourself. Shiwan replied with an oh. Li Jian went upstairs. Li Yin stood beside Shiwan. When she saw Shiwan's disappointing performance, she complained in a low voice, You're too useless. Your brother's aura is too strong. Even though he was born with a bright moon and did not look like a common person, he was definitely not as harmless as he appeared to be. Otherwise, how could a management company that had only started a few years ago be compared to the giant Hua Feng? One had to know that the twists and turns in the entertainment industry were not inferior to, or even worse than, the intrigue in the business world. When Li Yin heard Shiwan's explanation, she nodded. That's true, but now that you've reached the level of a master, there should be some progress no matter what. Even if you said a few more words, it would still be good, right? Shiwan, I can't control this alone. Li Yin covered her head with her hands. What should we do? I feel that my brother likes men more and more. Shiwan, you're thinking too much. Forget it. Let's go upstairs and wash up first. I have to see what my brother bought for you. The two of them carried the bags and went to the guest room. I'm telling you, the room across the stairs is my brother's. Shiwan, Li Yin put the bags on the bed and directly opened one. When two black front-buttoned underwear appeared in front of Shiwan and Li Yin silently swallowed her saliva. What a sexy style. So my brother is a slut. To be honest, Shiwan had never tried this kind of underwear before. She couldn't help but blush. Li Yin couldn't wait to open the other bags. They're all Burberry, white, and classic. It seems that my brother's first time buying women's clothing is quite good. Are you sure your brother isn't lazy? Shiwan, you're telling the truth. Forget it. Hurry up and wash up. We'll get up early tomorrow and make breakfast for my brother. Try to make a good impression, understand? Shiwan, she was so frustrated. She had made a bad move back then, and it was really difficult to carry it out. The night was dark, and the wind outside the window whistled, causing the trees to constantly sway with the wind. They were like the claws of the devil, making a rustling sound, making the quiet night seem even more treacherous. Shiwan was awakened by the nightmare. She grabbed the phone by the side and opened it. A blue light enveloped her fair face. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. She sat up and crossed her arms around her knees. Her gaze was slightly dazed. Her pajamas were soaked in sweat, but she did not feel anything. How long had it been since she remembered the past? Ever since she met Lin Shi in the day and came to Xinyue at night, the past had come flooding back. The love, the hate, the sweetness, the pain, the laughter, the hysteria, the glory, the disdain, the sincere face, the twisted face. They circled around her head and slowly fell down, wrapping around her forehead. It was as if the headband on Sun Wu's head had been cast by the Tang priest. It became smaller and smaller, tighter and tighter. She stood up and pushed open the window. The bright moonlight shone through the window. The floor was covered in a silver glow. The cold wind that blew against her face caused the entire room to drop several degrees of temperature. She was completely awake, and her sleepiness was swept away. After closing the window, she turned on the light and took her phone. She logged in her Weibo account and posted, "Insomnia." Then, she went out of the bedroom to find some water to drink. Following the flashlight on her phone, she went smoothly to the kitchen. She found the fridge. There was a row of mineral water on it. The Filico logo could not help but complain. Extravagant. Shiwan took a bottle and was about to drink it when the kitchen their eyes met. For a moment, Shiwan felt very embarrassed. I can't sleep. I'm thirsty. She had always been calm in front of others, but when she saw him, she also stuttered. Shiwan averted her gaze, lowered her head, and tried to find something to say. That boss, why aren't you sleeping at this time of night? Li Jian threw the bottle of mineral water into the trash can at the side. He looked at Jiang Shuan and replied, "Yes, sleep early." After saying that, he left the kitchen and went upstairs. Shuan looked at his back and opened her mouth, wanting to call out to him for a chat. However, she was surprised to find that the two of them had only known each other by chance and had not really talked to each other. If they were to suddenly act like they were familiar with each other, it would be too deliberate and cause people to daydream. When the time came, they would really die before they could succeed. The hero was filled with tears. However, on second thought, she seemed to have thought too much. She wanted to pursue Li Jian because a piece of agreement with Li Yin, whether it would succeed or not, did not matter. However, she seemed to be too serious, deeply afraid that he would not like her. This was not good. After thinking through this, she turned off the kitchen lights and hurriedly followed his footsteps upstairs. For a moment, the sound of footsteps on the stairs came. The sound entered his ears. That boss. She called out to him in the end. Li Jian turned around and frowned. What's the matter? That last time, thank you. Li Jian was still puzzled, but he saw Shiwan go up and point at his lips with a smile. Li Jian suddenly felt his ears burning. His peach blossom eyes narrowed like two curved moons. His pitch-black eyes shone with a sharp gaze. I forgot. You forget too. I heard that was your first kiss. Li Jian staggered. It must have been Zheng Nua's big mouth. I don't want to hear anyone mention this again. Okay, I got it. Shiwan smiled. Tonight was enough. She couldn't say any more, so Shiwan just waved at Li Jian. Good night, then. Li Jian went back to his room without looking back. Looking at his back view, Shiwan couldn't help but laugh. Such a man, if he wasn't gay, he must be a man with excellent self-cultivation. After all, in the entertainment industry these days, everyone with power and influence liked to play with female celebrities to show off their wealth. Even Lin, she couldn't escape this conclusion. If he was really not gay, she would be envious of his future wife. To have such a man, in the world of lust and lust, to stick to his heart and be good to himself. As she thought of this, she woke up from a nightmare. Her mood was extremely bad, and she immediately became cheerful. Probably due to insomnia at night, Shiwan, who had already set her biological clock, actually slept until Li Yin knocked on the door. Looking at the time, it was 7:30 in the morning. Shiwan was still sleepy. She took the bra bought by Li Jian. It was black with a front button and was quite sexy. Shiwan blushed slightly, put on a Burberry white sweater and leather pants, and went out to open the door. The white sweater was V-neck, and one could vaguely see the black bra inside. It was quite a spectacular chest, and when she turned her body slightly, one could see the attractive cleavage. Lian opened her mouth and smacked her lips. If there is a groove, it will definitely be on fire. Shiwan, TSK, pure and flirtatious at the same time. Not bad. Lian nodded. My brother is indeed boring and flirtatious. He actually chose sexy clothes. You woke up so early today? It's not early anymore. It's already 7:30. My brother left the house at 8. Isn't he going to work at 9? My brother is a workaholic. Li Yin ridiculed. Let's make breakfast for him. Breakfast is so simple. Do you know how to make it? Do you know how to make it? Li Yin, I know how to make breakfast. Shiwan looked at Li Yan's blushing face and could not help but smile back. Li Yin silently complained. So cheap, you. Shiwan followed Li Yin into the kitchen and opened the refrigerator door during the day. There were fruits, vegetables, poultry, eggs, everything. Usually, my brother cooks by himself. His cooking skills are very good. He was really a top-notch man. When Li Yin talked about her brother's merits, she could not stop talking. Shiwan could not help but interrupt. Your brother is so outstanding. Aren't you afraid that I will fake it and do it for real? Li Yin suddenly frowned and looked at Shiwan. You'd better not have such thoughts. so you can stop praising me." As she said that, she took eggs, flour, and tomatoes from the fridge and walked towards the counter. Lian looked at Shi Wan washing the vegetables and did not know what to say. In the end, she only said, "I only hope that our agreement doesn't go bad." Shi Wan shrugged. You can rest assured, she would never fall in love with anyone again in her life. Love was too painful. It hurt her so badly that there was nothing left of her body. It was not easy for her to have a second life. How could she be stupid enough to fall into a quagmire? Shi Wan knew how to make breakfast. There were a lot of different types of breakfast, and it was all because of Lin Shi. In the past, she had been completely immersed in the sweetness of love. But because she was busy with work and had to spend more time away from Lin Shi, she felt guilty that she could not be with Lin Shi for a long time. So as long as Lin Shi made a request, she would do it one by one. Lin Shi liked to eat breakfast at home and preferred sweet food. So she hired a master teacher to teach her. Whenever she was free, she would go into the kitchen and study snacks, Chinese pastries, and Western pastries. She learned everything. Although she was not proficient in them, she could at least make them decent and taste good. At that time, she wished she could marry him right away, wash his hands, and make soup for him. Every day, he would fall asleep in her arms and wake up in his arms. No one would have thought that the aloof Jiang Shuan in front of the screen was just a spoiled little woman behind screen. If her fans knew, they would probably shout that which man had saved the Milky Way galaxy in his past life and married Jiang Shuan. Without a doubt, they would create a topic hashtag XXX hashtag that saved the Milky Way galaxy. Now that he thought about it, the him in his previous life was really too cowardly. The time he spent with Lin, she was actually just a transaction of money and power. Those happy times were fake and fake. On the surface, they looked good, but on the inside, they were dirty and could not withstand the test. They were like 7 color bubbles. When the sun shone, it disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only the unpleasant smell of soap. It did not disappear for a long time. The time he spent with Sun Wanyu was actually just his own wishful thinking. However, she had already nailed him to the pillar of hateful, annoying, hateful, hateful. As long as there was a chance, she would put him to death. It was like a poisonous snake that had been staring at you for a long time. You could not escape, you could not escape. From time to time, it would spit out its bright red tongue and look at you coldly. As long as you were not careful, you would be killed in one hit. Therefore, the Shiwan in her past life, who looked glorious in front of others, was shaking her head. Shiwan no longer thought about those 2 people who made her gnash her teeth and wanted nothing more than to devour flesh and blood. She focused on the task at hand. Because Lian didn't leave much time for Shiwan to make breakfast, she only made simple tomato and egg noodles for breakfast. The handmade noodles were cute and strong, paired with green vegetables, yellow eggs, red tomatoes, and a few pieces of bacon. It looked appetizing. "You're pretty good." Lian stood to the side and praised. As a handicap, as long as they didn't burn, their skills would be full marks. Moreover, they made all kinds of colors, fragrance, and taste. It was great. Lian looked at the time. My brother should be coming down soon. Speaking of the devil, Li Zhan appeared in the kitchen as soon as Li Yin finished speaking. He was dressed in white, looking very fresh. When he saw Shi Wan and Li Yin appear in the kitchen at the same time, he couldn't help but be surprised, but he still nodded to the 2 of them. "Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, brother. Why are you up so early today?" Li Zhan looked at his own sister, who usually did not wake up until the sun was shining. Li Yin smiled. "Because Shiwan doesn't like to stay in bed. As the host, I naturally can't stay in bed." Shiwan chuckled. Li Yin's ability to lie through her teeth was really getting better and better. Li Zhan nodded and then looked at the 3 bowls of exquisite tomato and egg noodles on the counter. The red, yellow, green, and white colors matched each other. The soup color was fresh and white, and it looked quite delicious. He remembered that his refrigerator did not seem to have noodles, so he asked, "You made it?" "It was made by Shiwan. She's so amazing, right? She got up early in the morning to make breakfast for us. I'm so embarrassed." Li Zhan nodded to Shiwan. "Thank you." Shiwan nodded. "I'm just borrowing flowers to offer Buddha. Everyone, hurry up and eat." If you leave it for too long, it will spoil. It doesn't taste good. Li Jian was about to take one of the bowls when Li Yin said, "Wait, let me take a photo first." As she said that, she took her cell phone and took a photo. She logged into her sub-account first and posted on Weibo. Madam Jiang, who wanted to be a screenwriter, the sun hasn't set yet. Your craftsmanship is really good. Whoever marries you is lucky, right, brother? Then, she logged into her main account and posted on Weibo. Li Yin, at Jiang Xuan06V, her cooking is so good. It's purely handmade noodles, Q and strong. The taste is also delicious. After eating a bowl, she wants to eat a second bowl. Unfortunately, she has to maintain her figure and can't eat more. The two Weibo posts used a photo, but the main account had an additional photo of Li Yan's selfie. After Li Yan posted on Weibo, she started eating. Xiwan and Li Jian. The noodles were indeed delicious, and Li Yan really didn't want to finish it. Xiwan, when you lived in the Qinshui apartment, why didn't you make your own breakfast? Lazy. One word completely blocked Li Yan's thoughts of begging for a free meal. She only silently calculated that she had to drag Jiang Xiwan to her brother's place, more so that she could eat more of her breakfast. After eating breakfast, Li Jian went upstairs to change into his formal clothes. After instructing Li Yin to make herself at home, he went to the company. Seeing her brother disappear from her sight, Li Yin sighed. Is work that good? After washing the dishes, Xiwan went out of the kitchen and heard Li Yan's exclamation. She said, "Work is more reliable than love. Love can betray, but work will never." Li Yan expressed that she didn't understand. "I'm going to school." It had been a long time since she last saw her roommates, so it was time for her to go over and take a look. Besides, it was almost the end of the semester, and the defense for the opening report had also been put on the agenda. She should also prepare. Okay, she went to see Jiang E. Bang Bang Bang. University A. The leaves of the parasol tree had already fallen, leaving only the bare branches. They stood on both sides of the boulevard, looking particularly bleak. Xiwan and Li Yin appeared at the same time at the school, blinding all of Lord A's eyes. F***CK, what happened to the disagreement? Initially, they thought that the disagreement online was just a PR draft from the company, but in the end, the reality was like a slap to their faces. However, it was really rare for the two most beautiful campus bells in the history of a university to appear in the same frame. They couldn't help but take out their phones and click, click, click. There were even people swarming over. Jiang Xiwan, Li Yin, please sign your name. Xiwan and Li Yin couldn't resist the enthusiasm of the alumni, so they fulfilled their request. The two of them signed their names one after the other, and it was already 10 o'clock in the morning. Their hands were a little sore. Seeing these alumni inform the others to come, the two of them were embarrassed. Could it be that they had to spend the whole day signing their names? The two of them could only laugh dryly. That classmate. Next time, we still have other things to do. Some people expressed their understanding. Thinking that they had already gotten their signatures, they let them go. As for the students who came after hearing the news, when they saw that Jiang Xiwan and Li Yin were no longer on the avenue, they beat their chests and stomped their feet, complaining that they were not fast enough. Li Yin pulled Xiwan to a more convenient place and sighed. Looks like I have to disguise myself the next time I go back to school. Xiwan, I have to go back to the dormitory. Li Yin nodded. I will go look for Jiang. The two of them parted ways. Back in the dormitory that they hadn't seen for a long time, Qian Mingfei was the only one in the dormitory. When she saw Xiwan, she was full of surprise and couldn't help but give her a big hug. Xiwan, nice to meet you. You are getting more and more beautiful. Today, she was wearing a Burberry plaid wool coat, which made Xiwan stand tall and straight. Her skin was as white as snow, and she was especially dignified and generous. You look even better now. By the way, where are the others? Huayu has changed to a location host. It seems like she's going to record the news today. Where's Ah Qing? Ever since Xiao Yingjing's album debut on Christmas Day, she has instantly become popular. Now, the internet is full of Ah Qing's topics. I don't know if you've noticed, but she went with Xiao Yingjing to record the Fruit Station's Happy Family today. Qian Mingfei said there was a hint of envy in her voice. "Sai, it's just me. I don't have much work now. What about your previous job? I blew it. I'm going to be happy." Qian Mingfei spat out a mouthful of blood when she thought of this. She couldn't help but curse, "Bah, what's wrong? It's all because the editor-in-chief of that fat pig-eared wanted to cheat on me. I smacked my nose with an ashtray, and then I fired them. Damn it. I thought this matter was over, but this old fat pig-eared bastard has some background. He forcefully dragged me into the blacklist of all the magazines. As a result, she was now being interviewed. She was hitting a wall everywhere." Shiwan frowned. "Then what do you do?" "Nothing much. I'll take it one step at a time. I haven't graduated anyway. At worst, I'll go to graduate school. At worst, I'll go to other provinces and cities. That old fogey's hands won't stretch so far, right? Are you willing to be an assistant? I think Tianying is still looking for an assistant." Qian Mingfei's eyes lit up. "Yeah, I can still be an assistant. Anyway, you and Qing are both in Tianying. You can always take care of me." Buzz buzz, Qian Mingfei's phone rang. It was Chun Lele from the same class. Qian Mingfei answered a few sentences and hung up. Chun Lele said that there's a basketball match in the department today, and she wants me to be a cheerleader. "Are you going?" Qian Mingfei didn't wait for 11 Wan's reply before he grabbed her arm. "Go ahead. It's a match between our media and computer department. The semifinals are still very good to watch. Who would have thought that our media would make it into the top 4 in history? It would be a pity not to watch. Let's take advantage of the fact that we haven't graduated and quickly enjoy our time in school. Otherwise, when we graduate, we won't have the chance to enjoy it even if we want to. We won't be able to find that kind of mood even if we want to go back to our old places." Shiwan nodded. Yes, when many people were in school, they wished that they could immediately grow wings and leave this cage that they thought was restricting their freedom. Even their parents, even their seniors, all told them that school was the most beautiful time. Don't let go of your time, or you'll regret it too much. However, she had never cared about them. She only thought that they were noisy and didn't have a vision. She didn't know that they were all good words. However, she covered her ears and insisted on doing things her own way. She only wanted to show off her grand blueprint, her ideals and ambitions, but she didn't know that society was filled with iron walls. It made you run into walls everywhere, and your face was covered in dust. Thinking about how good school was at this time, it would really be a big joke. Therefore, Shiwan did not expect Qian Mingfei to be so understanding. She could not help but smile. Okay. The school's basketball stadium was on the second floor of the stadium. The headlights on the ceiling lit up the entire basketball stadium as if it was daytime. At this moment, the basketball stadium was already filled with spectators. They were all excited and looking forward to it. Outside the police cordon, it was actually filled with people. The school cheerleaders were all wearing the same uniform. They had already taken out trumpets, clapping props, and dancing colorful flower balls to create an atmosphere. Shiwan looked at the sea of people and was slightly surprised. She did not expect that there would be so many people paying attention to this school's basketball game. Back when she was in university, the participation rate in the school's basketball game was really not that high. If she found an audience, she would even need to get a message from the league secretary of the class that those who watched the game would be awarded second-class credits. Even so, the audience during the game was still very few. 2 boys walked past with their heads lowered. The 2 of them were whispering. One of them said, "Damn, there's so many beauties in the media. We really can't miss this game. Let's pray that the media wins and we can continue to watch the beauties next time." "Oh, I just heard that Jiang Shuan and Li Yin have returned to the school. I wonder if they will come and watch the competition." Qian Mingfei looked at the backs of these 2 idiots and thought to himself, "Isn't Jiang Shuan right behind you?" Then he looked at the sea of people and said to Shiwan, "Our media has made it into the top 4 in history. All the beauties have come out to cheer for us, so the wolf boys from the other faculties have also come out. Then, you know that our school's top student, Zheng Yi, also wants to participate in the competition, so you have attracted a bunch of infatuated girls." This superficial society that looked at faces was really worried that the second floor would collapse. Shiwan followed Qianming Fei and squeezed in. Some people were pushed aside, and when she turned her head to look, it was actually Jiang Shiwan. She was so shocked that her mouth couldn't close. Wah, 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 Jiang Shiwan. Jiang Shiwan. However, because there were too many people, even if they recognized that it was Jiang Shiwan, they didn't dare to continue squeezing in. After all, no one was willing to let their good territory be put. Qianming Fei finally found Chun Lele. Chun Lele was distributing mineral water and towels in the rest area of the team. When she saw Qianming Fei, she immediately waved her hand and looked at Jiang Shiwan, who was following behind Qianming Fei. Her small mouth was wide open. Jiang Shiwan, you're here too. She walked forward and looked at Jiang Shiwan excitedly. I haven't seen you in half a year. Wow, you're really getting more and more beautiful. Although she knew that Jiang Shiwan was beautiful, she wasn't as glamorous as before, especially this small face. It was so white that it was almost transparent. It was even a little yellow before. Could it be that she had been injected on second thought? She felt that it was impossible. Although whitening needles would turn white, it was definitely not this healthy and smooth white. Looking at Jiang Shiwan's makeup, it was clear that she had a healthy and rosy luster. One look and one could tell that she was pure and natural. Could it be that she remembered wrongly? Qianming Fei said, I brought Shiwan to watch the competition. Chun Lele nodded. That's great. If the boys in the department knew that Shiwan came to cheer for them, they would definitely be thrilled. Our chances of winning against the computer will also be higher. After Chun Lele finished speaking, she ran to the rest area and took out a large black paper bag from under the chairs in the rest area. She took out the exclusive props for the cheerleading team: a yellow long tea dress, a colorful ball flower, a ringing bell, and a clapping prop. She turned back and handed it to Qianming Fei. There is a changing room over there. Hurry up and change. The competition is about to start. Qianming Fei nodded. Shiwan, wait for me here. Shiwan nodded and turned her head to see the computer science department's rest area opposite. Lian was sitting at the side, pouring tea for Jiang Yi. Young miss, where's your backbone? Let's go and sit. Seeing that Shiwan was standing still, Chun Lele followed Shiwan's gaze and looked over. Is that Lian? Shiwan nodded. Isn't this guy from our media? He is really a traitor, Chun Lele muttered softly. Shiwan smiled. Youth was really good. Shiwan followed Chun Lele and sat on a chair in the resting area. The boys who were warming up saw this and widened their eyes. **, are my eyes seeing things? He actually invited the school belle, Jiang Shiwan, to come and cheer for us, who is the head of the publicity department this time. I want to treat him to a meal. It's really senior Jiang Shiwan. It was so hard to see her in school before. Now that she's a big star in the entertainment industry, it's even harder to see her. I didn't expect to see her during the competition. She's so touched. Around Shiwan, the excited students quickly surrounded her. Senior Shiwan, are you here to cheer us on? Wow, I'm so touched. Senior Shiwan, please sign your autograph. Shiwan. More than 10 people surrounded Jiang Shiwan, and they spoke one after another. Chun Lele, who was standing on the side, was speechless. She pulled him away. You guys, enough. The competition is about to start. Hurry up and warm up. If you lose later, your goddess will lose face. You guys can do it. Shiwan smiled at them. I'm going to faint. Hurry up and give me an oxygen machine. Go to hell. Ha ha. The young people ran to the side to warm up, helping each other stretch their muscles. Looking at the energetic them, Shiwan was always envious. In the past, in order to make a living, she had spent her entire university time filming. She was not close to her classmates and did not participate in many school group activities. Now that she thought about it, she had missed so much. Bah! The loudspeakers in the basketball stadium rang in everyone's ears. Before long, the sports teacher's voice was heard. The 99th campus men's basketball semifinals of a university, the computer department versus the media department, officially begins. Please enter the stadium in an orderly manner. Subsequently, the leading teachers of the two branches and playing with the partners, one after another into the field. Students in the computer department wear red uniforms and students in the media department wear white uniforms. Shiwan's side head, see the side of Chun Lele has led the branch school cheerleading team, standing on the sidelines of the line, began to cheer. Cheerleaders from both camps, as well as from the sidelines, shouted with excitement. Come on, come on, come on, Jiang E dash. Jiang E, you're the most handsome. You're the most handsome. Jiang E, you are the best. You are the best. Jiang E fan team, not to be outdone. When Shiwan looked up again, she saw that Jiang E also saw Shiwan. His eyes lit up as he blew a kiss at Shiwan. Shiwan, F***CK, Jiang E, you are mine. Li Yan's angry roar sounded in the sky. Shiwan. At this moment, Li Yan naturally noticed Shiwan as well and ran to Shiwan's side. F***CK, why are you here? To watch the competition. You aren't here to see Jiang E, are you? We have agreed that you are going to chase after my brother. When Shiwan saw the nervous Li Yan, her teasing heart was instantly aroused. You know that even if I managed to catch up to your brother, it would still be fake. Besides, it is impossible for me not to be real. Li Yan widened her eyes and looked at Jiang Shiwan. Speaking of which, now that I look at Jiang E, he's indeed not bad. Young, handsome, from a good family background, high IQ, high EQ, infatuation, and gentleness. Shiwan rubbed her chin and carefully counted Jiang Yi's strengths. Jiang, she, won. Shiwan smiled. Li Yan looked at Shiwan's expression and knew that she was teasing her again. She couldn't help but grit her teeth. As expected, I hate you the most in this world. Come, smile. Jiang E is watching. Go away. Li Yan turned her head and saw that Jiang E had scored another goal. Jiang E, so handsome, so handsome. Go for it. Go for it. Shiwan, Miss Li, don't you think it is too much for you to sit on the resting area of the media college and cheer for your opponent? As expected, Chun Lele and the others turned their heads to look at Li Yan in their resting area and couldn't help but complain. Li Yan, you are from our media performance department. Li Yan snorted and saw that Jiang E had gotten the ball again. She started to get excited again. Jiang E, you can do it. Jiang E, you can do it. No, you are so handsome that I'm going to faint. There is actually such a handsome man in this world. I want to take a photo. Take a photo. As she spoke, she hurriedly took out her cell phone and started to take photos. When she took photos of Jiang E, she was all focused. It was as though Jiang E was the only ruler of this world. It had to be said that Lady Li's lousy photo-taking skills were like cheats when she was taking photos of Jiang E. Every action that she captured was filled with youthful passion, and the picture's exquisiteness was as though it had been photoshopped. The entire competition seemed to have become Jiang Yi's solo show. Three-pointers, dunk, block, overshot. Hence, during the normal competition, screams could be heard one after another. During the halftime interval, Shiwan realized that the media college had only scored 20 points, while the computer science department had already scored 53 points. This gap, a few of the young men from the media department were drenched in sweat, and their faces were filled with disappointment. Chun Lele was also carrying a towel and a bottle of mineral water as she walked towards them. Shiwan patted Chun Lele on the shoulder. Let me do it. Chun Lele was shocked. You can take the towel. This one is lighter. Shiwan nodded and took the towel to distribute to everyone. When everyone saw that it was Shiwan who had distributed the towel, they were filled with excitement. Thank you, thank you. He had decided that he wanted to hide this towel as a souvenir. Even though Shiwan had boosted their morale, they still couldn't recover from the defeat due to the huge difference in strength. The result of the match was 45-120, a crushing defeat. After they left the stage, many media girls said, they are all in the top 4. The difference is too huge. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have come. It is too embarrassing. There are also some girls who said, our media boys are always weak. To be able to make it to the top 4 is already very impressive. Furthermore, the computer science department is a strong team that wins the championship every year. That's right. With Jiang E, the champion of points, the other departments wouldn't be able to compete with him. Just take it easy and take it easy. It was not bad to be able to come and see the college freshmen. Didn't they realize that Li Yin and Jiang Xuan were both present today? TSK, TSK, this love triangle that caused people to daydream. I just saw Jiang Yi blowing a kiss at Jiang Xuan. Miss Li Yin was jealous. What's the situation? Hurry up and dig for us. When they left the basketball stadium, the sunlight made Xuan squint her eyes instantly. Qian Mingfei said in a hoarse voice, I was so tired from shouting that I lost miserably in the end. But that kid, Jiang Yi, ate some stimulants today. He was like a cheater and kept scoring. This season's MVP will definitely be him again. Qian Mengfei continued to nag, but then again, Jiang Yi is so outstanding. He has been chasing after you for 3 years. Why don't you like him? If I don't like him, then I don't like him. There is no why, Xuan replied indifferently. She turned her head and saw Qian Mengfei's stunned face. What is it? She followed Qian Mengfei's gaze and saw Jiang Yi looking at her with an injured expression. Beside him was Li Yin. Needless to say, Li Yin must have asked him to come and look for her. Sigh. This Lady Li is really anxious to chase someone. Xuan nodded to Jiang Yi and then looked at Li Yin. Is your throat still normal? Li Yin saw that Xuan wasn't even willing to look at Jiang Yi with a serious gaze and was instead concerned about her throat. She couldn't help but believe that Xuan really didn't have any feelings for Jiang Yi. She couldn't help but feel sorry for Jiang Yi. Why don't you turn around and look at me? I don't look any worse than Jiang Xuan. I have been behind you since I was young and followed your footsteps. I know that you like watching TV and movies, so I chose the acting department. I hope that one day you can see me performing for you on TV. But why don't you ever look back at me? Li Yin felt a little uncomfortable. Perhaps from a certain point of view, she and Jiang Yi were the same kind of people. Jiang Yi quickly calmed himself down. It wasn't the first time. After 3.5 years of doing this, it seemed like he still had to work hard. Do you want to go to lunch? Jiang Yi looked at Xuan. The new restaurant at the school just opened tastes very good. They are all Northeast cuisine. The environment there is also very good. You will like it. It was noon, and it was the time for lunch. Even though they didn't manage to woo the goddess, it was still very blissful to have lunch with her. Li Yin looked at Xuan. Are you going, Xuan? The two of you can go. Meng Fei and I want to eat grilled fish. Then we can eat grilled fish too. Jiang Yi wouldn't stop until he had lunch with Xuan. Xuan. Li Yin turned around. Let's go together, Xuan. Qian Mingfei pulled Xuan's sleeve. Let's go together. If this continued, it would be awkward for everyone. Xuan squinted her eyes and nodded. Even though noon was the peak time for eating, since it was New Year's Day tomorrow and today was Friday, most of the students went home early to enjoy the 3-day holiday. As a result, the students who were eating outside weren't as crowded as usual. The 4 of them were lucky enough to get a private room. During the meal, Jiang Yi kept finding topics to talk about. Xuan basically didn't pick it up, and even if she did, she would just say in and oh. The meal was very awkward, and most of the time, Li Yin responded enthusiastically. It was a pity that the falling flowers were intentional, and the flowing water was merciless. Qian Mingfei knew that this meal would be so awkward, and she shouldn't have opened her mouth earlier. When the bill was about to be paid, 11 won paid, bid farewell to Jiang Yi and Li Yin, and left. Qian Mingfei said, I suddenly feel that Li Yin isn't that annoying. Xuan smiled. She isn't annoying in the first place. She was just a spoiled little princess who didn't know how to express herself. However, she had never done anything outrageous. On the contrary, it was those who acted behind her back, giving her candy on the surface and stabbing her on the back that were the scariest. And I even found her quite pitiful today. Tiao was bright and beautiful. She was a typical fair-skinned, rich, and beautiful girl. I heard that she and Jiang Yi were childhood sweethearts. She had been chasing after Jiang Yi for many years and could be considered to be infatuated with him. However, Jiang Yi didn't even look her in the eye. Why do you think she has to hang herself on Jiang Yi's tree? Thinking about it, she felt bad for Li Yin. Xuan shrugged her shoulders. In this world, who doesn't have 2 things that they couldn't get? It was just like how Lin she was with her. She was with Jiang Yi, and Jiang Yi was with Li Yin. How were they ever similar? They were both persistent in pursuing the person that they couldn't get, but that person never looked back at them. The difference was that she had died once. It seemed like it was over. The two of them still looked like they wouldn't look back unless they bumped into each other. Qian Mengfei nodded. Tomorrow is New Year's Day. Let's go ice skating. Shiwan smiled. Tomorrow, I promised my agent to attend his father's 60th birthday. Qian Mengfei had a look of pity. It can't be. It's such a coincidence. Then the four of us in the dormitory can only meet tonight. Shiwan nodded. The afternoon was spent in the school library. Shiwan sorted out the opening report that she had done back then. There should be no problems with her defense in the middle of January. The sun gradually set, and the sky of the city had a rare, magnificent burning cloud. Shiwan looked at this magnificent scene and thought of her name back then. When I picked you up, the burning cloud was so brilliant. Your small face was illuminated by the burning cloud like a virgin under the lotus of the goddess of mercy. It's beautiful. That's why I called you Shiwan. The sun was not late, and the burning cloud filled the sky. So beautiful. Take 2 pictures quickly. Qian Mengfei took a selfie. She looked up and saw that 11 Wan was standing still, staring at the red burning clouds. She couldn't help but point the camera lens at Shiwan. So beautiful. Qian Mengfei stared at the picture she took. She would never say that she was bad at taking pictures again. It was because she was ugly that she couldn't take a good picture. Look, take a picture of a great beauty. With a simple click, it was a beautiful screensaver. The picture was of Shiwan standing there, looking up. Her loose hair was slightly fluttering in the wind, and behind her was the school's evergreen tree that had not withered. The sky was filled with red burning clouds, and the golden-rimmed egg yolk of the setting sun shone on her face. The golden light only outlined the exquisite side of her face, and even her flying hair was covered in a layer of soft golden light. The slanted shadow was drawn long. It was too artistic. Qian Mengfei could not help but send the picture to Shiwan. Quick, quick, quick! Make this a profile picture. Shiwan took out her phone, whose screen was shattered like fireworks, and opened the MMS that Qian Mengfei sent. She saw a photo like this and smiled at the proud Qian Mengfei. It's pretty good. Qian Mengfei was shocked. How did your phone become like this? Shiwan smiled. Yes, before I got on the plane yesterday, I bumped into a scoundrel and accidentally broke it. I was in a hurry, so I left first. This scoundrel is so lucky. Qian Mengfei was indignant. Lin, she was just a scoundrel. Shiwan and Qian Mengfei went to the school's fruit machine store and bought the latest fruit machine. Because it could be exchanged for a new one, and Shiwan's phone hadn't been bought for long, it only had a broken screen, so it was worth some money. After all the information was stored, Shiwan looked at the time again. It was 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Qian Mengfei said, "Why you should be back?" Ah Qing said he was coming back for New Year's Day, so he should be here soon. Let's choose a restaurant and wait for them. Shiwan nodded. While waiting, Qian Mengfei urged Shiwan to change her profile picture again. Shiwan smiled and logged into her long-lost Weibo account. A series of red dots appeared. There were all kinds of posts and comments, as well as private messages and new fans. Shiwan skipped these messages and changed her profile picture. After changing her profile picture, she posted another Weibo post. Back on campus, comfortable. Because she did not update her Weibo much during this period of time, she was not as popular as before. She simply posted a Weibo post and went to the front page. The comments under Weibo were also much cleaner than before. A large part of the reason was that the company that originally wanted to hack her to death gave up on continuing to hack her after seeing her alumni post a resume. They also had their own considerations. The dirt that they had released previously was already untenable, and now it was being beautifully slapped in the face. If they hired the internet trolls to pull her onto the homepage and believed that the growth rate of real fans was much faster than the growth rate of anti-fans, then the loss would outweigh the gain. After Shiwan posted on Weibo, most of them were true fans. They instantly left messages and expressed all sorts of feelings. There were also students from school who excitedly said, Shiwan, I saw you at school today. I saw you cheering for the boys in the department today. Shiwan looked at the comments and picked a few kisses to reply. Many fans left messages with their ID. Congratulations, You've been refilmed by the goddess. The night was getting darker, and Qian Mingfei's phone rang. It was Sun Huayu who had rushed over. Soon, Sun Huayu, who was wearing an orange down jacket, appeared in front of the two of them. Qiwan, long time no see. I missed you so much. Sun Huayu gave Qiwan a big hug. Is Li Qing not here yet? Soon. She said she took a taxi and rushed over. It's so rare for the people from our dormitory to meet again after such a long time. While the three of them were chatting and laughing, they chatted about the recent situation. Sun Huayu knew that it was a pity that Qiwan could not go out with everyone tomorrow. However, thinking about it, it was not that there was no time in the future, so she understood. Not long after, Zhou Liqing also rushed over. She was wearing a brown leather jacket, a black leather skirt, and a pair of fair and straight legs. She did not wear stockings, but a pair of long boots. She had probably just finished recording the show and had not removed her makeup yet. She looked radiant and exceptionally good-looking. You're wearing so little? Qian Mingfei looked at Zhou Liqing in surprise. Zhou Liqing put down the bag in her hand and sat on a stool at the side. I just finished recording the show. I didn't have time to change my clothes and ran over. My dear ones, I'm not late, am I? What do you think? All right, let the waiter serve the dishes quickly. Qian Mingfei stood up and called for the waiter. Qiwan, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Kiss, kiss. Zhou Liqing pouted her bright red lips. It's so mushy when you come. Qiwan smiled. How have you been recently? Well, I've been all right. Although I was dragged into the trainee team after filming the MV, the company let me go after senior Xiao Yinjing's promotion. By the way, Ah Qing is becoming more and more like a star now. This makeup looks too good. Sun Huayu said. She was also a location host now, so she had to put on makeup. However, they were all simple foundation and blush. Her eyebrows were healed instantly. She did not feel much more beautiful after drawing. On the contrary, Ah Qing was originally 60% beautiful. After putting on makeup, he was also 80% beautiful. As soon as Sun Huayu said this, Qian Mingfei also teased, I feel that the makeup of celebrities is especially exquisite. Yes, it was Senior Zhao's makeup artist who helped me put on my makeup. Zhou Liqing revealed a hint of shyness. Qiwan looked up and saw Zhou Liqing's bashful eyes, as if she was a young girl in love. Qiwan could not help but frown. She was just about to advise Zhou Liqing not to fall in love with someone as soon as she entered the entertainment industry, especially a big shot like Xiao Yinjing. However, the topic was diverted by Qian Mingfei, and Zhou Liqing was also excitedly discussing other things with them. Qiwan could not help but sigh. She temporarily put down her persuasion and started to talk about other things with everyone. The dishes were served one after another. Everyone ate and chatted. There was no estrangement that they had not seen each other for months. Time passed by quietly. It was a banquet, and it would eventually end. After Qiwan paid the bill, everyone said goodbye to each other. Qian Mingfei and Sun Huayu returned to the dormitory as usual. Qiwan and Zhou Liqing returned to the Qinshui apartment together. In the winter night of City B, the temperature was so low that spittle could turn into ice. When the cold wind with snowflakes blew, it made people shiver. Even Qiwan, who was wrapped in a woolen coat, was like this, let alone Zhou Liqing, who was naked below her thighs. Qiwan sighed and took off her long coat. The cold wind invaded her limbs and bones. It had to be said that it was really cold. Wrap it first. Don't get sick. Zhou Liqing shook her head. That won't do. You'll get cold. I'm wearing warm underwear inside, and your thighs are still hanging outside. Don't be pretentious with me. Qiwan, you're so kind. I love you. Zhou Liqing was touched. Then, she hugged Qiwan. This way, we can resist the cold together. A blinding light came. The private car they had called had arrived. The two of them got into the car. The whistling in their hearts made them feel much better. Qin Shui apartment. I'm really freezing. Zhou Liqing returned the clothes to Qiwan and shivered. The driver turned up the temperature of the air conditioner a little higher. Then, he looked at the two pretty girls behind him and couldn't help but say, You two girls are so beautiful. How dare you come home so late? The pretty girls nowadays were really bold. Qiwan took the clothes and put them on. This dress is so nice. It's the latest model of Burberry, right? Sigh, I went to see it last time. The price is 5 figures, and it's not even discounted. I really can't do it. But the clothes are really expensive. Although she had stepped into the entertainment circle. So far, the money she had received was only 30,000 yuan. More than half of the clothes had been spent, so she couldn't do it for the time being. Xiwan hadn't thought of this at first, but then she remembered that Li Zhan had bought her a full set of clothes yesterday. He must have spent a lot of money. Well, should I return this money to Boss after all? Boss didn't say that he would give it to her. Although Boss didn't care about this small amount of money, and he might feel insulted if he brought it up, but receiving a set of clothes that ordinary people thought was sky high. Well, ask him tomorrow. He should appear at his uncle's birthday party, right? When she returned to the dormitory, she found that Li Yin had indeed not returned. It was likely that she would not come over tonight. She took off her clothes, changed her shoes, and opened the fridge. She found that the things in the fridge were already empty. It was likely that the food she bought last time had already expired. The cleaning lady had thrown them all away. She sighed and could not help but put on her thick coat again. She went downstairs to the 24-hour convenience store to buy some food and water. When she went downstairs, waves of cold air blew onto her face. Xiwan lowered her head and buried her head in her fluffy hat. Suddenly, she heard waves of suppressed sobs. In the dead of night, the sound of a girl crying suddenly came out. It was quite creepy, but this sound was still quite familiar. She went forward and saw a familiar figure sitting at the yin-bian of the observation pool downstairs. She buried her head in her knees and let out suppressed sobs. The dim yellow light was covered with a layer of sadness. Li Yin, that person raised his head. It was indeed Li Yin. What happened to you? Li Yin stood there in a daze. When she saw Jiang Xiwan's sudden appearance, she was in a daze and looked listless. Why are you crying here? Li Yin wiped her tears and stood up. Her voice was slightly hoarse as she replied arrogantly, nothing. When she saw Xiwan's untrusting gaze, she couldn't help but continue to emphasize, can I mourn for the spring and the autumn? There is no spring and no autumn. Why are you here in the cold winter? Li Yin bit her lip. When Xiwan saw Li Yin in such a sorry state, she knew in her heart that the only person who could make this young miss cry was Jiang Yi. Hurry up and go upstairs. Don't get sick from the cold tomorrow. Li Yin nodded and was about to move when she saw Xiwan walking out. Where are you going? To buy water and some food. There is nothing in the house. Li Yin nodded and took out 500 yuan from her wallet. Count me in. Xiwan, young miss, even if I could buy something that cost 500 yuan, I might not be able to carry it. Don't buy me. I will eat whatever you buy, and you will eat whatever I buy. Be good, go back and lie down. Li Yin nodded, took back the money, and left. Xiwan hurriedly bought some water and biscuits, then returned to her dormitory. The next day, the weather was fine. Presumably, it was because of the Gregorian calendar's new year. It was rare to see a big sun, and the temperature had also risen. But even so, it was still much colder than the Jiangnan area. On New Year's Day, everyone had a holiday, and everywhere was crowded and bustling. All kinds of shops, with the gimmicks of lowering prices, promoting sales, and giving preferential treatment to guests, attracted customers to come and go. Today was Zheng Nua's father's 60th birthday. In a while, Zheng Nua would come over to pick up people. He also had to go to the stylist to pick out dresses and makeup, so Xiwan woke up early. The Zheng family had been an aristocratic family in the capital for 100 years. After the baptism of war and time, they still stood firm. This had a lot to do with their family's deep heritage. Thus, although this was only Zheng Nua's father's birthday banquet, most of the people who came to celebrate the birthday had great backgrounds. Xiwan woke up early. Following her usual practice, she naturally went to call for Li Yin. She knocked on the door, but there was no reply for a long time. She casually turned the doorknob, and the door opened. Li Yin was wrapped in the blanket on the bed. Xiwan was a little speechless. She pulled the blanket away and saw that her cheeks were abnormally red. She touched her forehead and felt a fever. It was probably because she sat down yesterday and was exposed to the wind. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to get up. Li Yin frowned and moaned. Xiwan called Zheng Nua, and soon An excited and happy voice came from the other end. Shiwan, good morning. You actually called me so early. Did you miss me? Don't worry, I'm ready. I'll go out immediately. Moi. Shiwan listened to Zheng Nua's long voice, and her heart almost collapsed. She came back to her senses. Hurry up and come over. Li Yin has a fever and needs to be sent to the hospital. Zheng Nua. F***CK. After hanging up, Shiwan went out of Li Yin's room and boiled water for Li Yin, then brought it in. Quick, drink some boiling water. Okay. She sat up in a daze and drank the boiling water. At that time, Zheng Nua also rushed to Qin Shui's apartment and then sent Li Yin to the hospital as fast as possible. At the military second hospital, the nurse gave Li Yin an 4-drip. Zheng Nua looked at the sickly Li Yin and could not help but say, "This little girl with a cheap mouth is only more obedient when she's sick. Let's go get styled first. I don't know how long it will take to hang and 4-drip. What if we don't make it in time?" Shiwan. It's not that short of a while. Zheng Nua pursed his lips. All right. Sigh. It was a good New Year's Day. It was not easy for him to invite his goddess to his home, but he still had to spend most of the time in the hospital. Zheng Nua, who felt extremely miserable, logged into Weibo. When a girl gets sick, brother will accompany her. I am indeed the #1 brother in the world. However, many people in the audience misunderstood and asked sneakily, "Oh, which girl?" Or, "Is my goddess sick?" Following that, the content was changed. Everyone thought that Jiang Xuan was sick. Zheng Nua had no choice but to repost the Weibo post just now. It was my cousin who got sick. Seriously, don't randomly curse my cousin. Just as Zheng Nua finished reposting, he heard another notification sound. It was a message from a mutual friend. He opened it and saw that it was his gorgeous cousin. Li Zhan, Xiaoyan. She's at the military second hospital. You should hurry over. Oh yeah, his cousin was here. He and 11-1 could go get styled as soon as possible. He must make all his gay friends die of envy for him to have such a beautiful Shi Wan as his female companion. Li Zhan. Okay. Zheng Nua made a yes gesture and said, My cousin will be here soon. Let's go get styled later. Li Zhan? Shiwan was in a daze for a moment, then she nodded. Li Yin was originally in a daze and fell asleep, but Zheng Nua was really making too much noise. She couldn't help but open her heavy eyelids. You're so noisy. Zheng Nua snorted, but he also lowered his voice. If it were any other day, the two of them would have already argued. Li Zhan didn't disappoint. He rushed to the military second hospital in 20 minutes. As soon as he entered the room, he saw Jiang Xuan sitting beside Li Yin, looking at the drip bottle from time to time. Brother Zhan, you're here. Zheng Nua was the first to notice. Xuan turned her head, and her gaze met Li Zhan's eyes. Xuan discreetly averted her gaze. Boss. Li Zhan nodded. Zheng Nua said, Brother Zhan, you came at the right time. Xuan and I are going to do a styling. I'll leave Xiao Yin to you. Li Zhanfang wanted to force him, but Li Yin directly rejected him. I want cousin Nua to accompany me. Her. Although she was sick, her IQ was still there. How could she not leave such a good opportunity to cultivate a relationship with her brother and give it to a big pervert like Zheng Nua? Zheng Nua. The profanity in his mouth was stuck in his throat. This cousin of his must have been born to go against him. D***MN. Don't you know that he's chasing the goddess? What's the meaning of destroying her again and again? To think that he rushed over in the morning to send her to the hospital, this fellow, is simply an ingrate. On what basis? Li Yin said nonsense with a straight face. My brother doesn't know how to joke. You're full of jokes. Of course I want you to accompany me. Zheng Nua was so angry that he fainted. Xuan could not help but laugh out loud. It's decided just like that. Not happy, Zheng Nua used his roaring horse, but unfortunately, the goddess still followed someone else. Xuan followed Li Zhan down the stairs, and carefully followed behind him one step at a time. She did not dare to be even and did not dare to fall too far behind. Suddenly, Li Zhan stopped and turned his head to look at Xuan. Xuan hurriedly stopped her footsteps and was stunned. Boss! Li Zhan did not respond. He only narrowed his peach blossom eyes and looked at Xuan for a long time. Xiwan felt as if she was being scanned by an X-ray. It was as if all her thoughts were being watched by him. She could not help but curse in her heart. He really signed a good agreement and tricked her. Even though Xiwan had seen all kinds of storms, if there was a man who looked at her for such a long time and then remained calm, she would feel a little nervous. He did not say anything and continued to walk forward. Xiwan was full of doubts. What exactly was he looking at just now? Did he think that she had an evil intention towards him again, or did he know about the agreement between her and Li Yin? She had a series of doubts, but she could not bring herself to ask. She kept them bottled up in her heart, not to mention how uncomfortable it was. Soon, the two of them arrived at the parking spot. Without thinking, Xiwan sat in the back seat of the car. Sit in the front. Xiwan blinked. I'm not the driver. Xiwan was embarrassed. I'm sorry, boss. It was all his fault. He suddenly stopped and looked at her for a long time, causing her mind to be filled with the doubts she had just now. She was a little stunned. It was not the first time she sat next to boss in the co-pilot seat, but for some reason, she was really shocked to be sitting in this position today. She breathed a sigh of relief and adjusted her state of mind. Jiang Xiwan, you're an old fox who has been in the entertainment industry for many years. You have seen all kinds of storms. Do you need to be afraid of this man who is 2 years younger than you? Yes, he is 2 years younger than you. When you are running around, he is still wearing diapers. When you are in kindergarten, he is still wearing pants. What is there to be afraid of him? The psychological hints finally made Xiwan regain her composure. She fastened her seatbelt and smiled at the expressionless Li Jian. Although he couldn't see her, he could at least see her from the corner of his eyes. The car started, and soon, the scenery on the side of the road became a rapidly retreating line. The tall buildings on both sides of the road were lined up in rows. Soon, the car arrived at the most prosperous commercial street in B City. After that, the car took a few turns and arrived at a building whose neck was aching so much that it could barely see the top. The glass-inlaid building on top reflected the dazzling sunlight. Li Jian found a parking space and parked the car. Then, he led Xiwan to a high-class styling club. This club was mainly blue and white. The floor was light blue, and the ceiling was white. The walls were 20 centimeters long, with white tiles and a mirror embedded in the wall. Between the mirror and the tiles, there was a blue border with flowers. Every styling spot was surrounded by a pot of green hanging orchids. It looked peaceful and peaceful. There were many people styling in this club. Most of them were ordinary rich people's wives, or some small celebrity models. At this moment, the stylists were busy styling the guests' hair and makeup. Everything was in order. The arrival of Li Jian and Xiwan made many customers look back over and over again. They were shocked. What a handsome couple. One of the stylists knew Li Jian. He opened his mouth and said to the customer, "Please wait for a moment. I'll go and call our boss." The customer was also a regular customer here. He couldn't help but nod. He was also surprised to find out who this person was that had alerted the boss. Soon, the boss of the club came out. He was an exquisite and fashionable man. When he saw Li Jian and Jiang Xiwan appear, he couldn't help but open his mouth wide. He said in an unbelievable tone, "Oh my God, the sun has risen from the west." Li Jian narrowed his eyes. "Give her a styling." Okay, this way, please." He led the two upstairs. The customers on the other side instantly understood. So it was a VIP customer here. It seemed that the person had a great background. Therefore, many curious people began to ask about their stylist, hoping to get some useful gossip from the stylist. However, most of the people here were very tight-lipped. Moreover, they didn't know who this Li Jian was. After all, the boss usually personally received and styled him. Suddenly, a customer said, "The person behind that super handsome guy is Jiang Xiwan, who is very popular on the internet, right? Oh my, now that you mention it, they really look alike. Just now, I was too focused on looking at that handsome guy. He's too handsome. Even Zheng Mingri couldn't take away his brilliance, so I didn't notice the beauty beside him at all. They look so compatible. They're both so good-looking. They're so good-looking. There's no other couple in this world with such good looks. Do you think Jiang Xiwan is being kept by someone? I think it's very unlikely. With such a handsome boyfriend, how could she be interested in other people?" But being good-looking isn't as good as being rich. If there's a rich and decent-looking person who wants to keep you, do you want to do it? For a moment, the guests who didn't know each other began to discuss. One of the stylists said, "How could he be kept by someone else? Even if he was kept by someone else, he would definitely be kept by that handsome guy just now. The number of guests our boss personally came out to receive doesn't exceed this number." The stylist used his hand to make an 8. Then, with conviction, he continued, "So this handsome guy has a big background. In the entire capital, it's the same." He gave a thumbs up and continued to conclude, "So even if that girl just now was kept as a mistress, she was still kept by him. Tell me, is it possible for her to hang out with other men?" When everyone heard this stylist's words, they first sucked in a breath of cold air, then shook their heads. "Oh my God, I would be willing to pay for a man like that just now." All right, stop talking about it." The more he said, the more he went overboard. It would be bad if the people above knew about it. The club's boss was called Pete. He was a gay man, but he was indeed gay. However, contrary to his appearance, he was an aggressive, feminine aggressive. Perhaps it had something to do with his profession. He liked to put on makeup. Under his well-trimmed eyebrows, he had a pair of long and narrow eyes with eyeliner. Under the corner of his eyes, there was a cinnabar mole and a high nose bridge. He must have gone to Bangwa to have plastic surgery. His lips were thin, and he had applied a light, transparent lip glaze. He looked as beautiful as a woman. Speaking of which, Pete and Lijan were junior high school classmates. They had once pursued Lijan, but were beaten black and blue by Lijan. They could not find their way home. After that, when they saw Lijan, they took a detour. Later on, Lijan developed a film and television company. When he was still little Luo, he once went to their company to put on makeup for an artist. When he saw Lijan on patrol, he realized that the man he loved back then was even more dazzling. Of course, he was also more terrifying. At that time, he didn't dare to go up and recognize him. After all, he was the big boss, and he was just a small stylist. The difference in status was too great. Although he already had his own lover, when faced with the man he liked before, he still had that natural inferiority complex. In the end, it was Lijan who recognized him and helped him. In the future, he would definitely be one of the stylists appointed by Tianying's artists. Gradually, his status in the beauty circle also rose. Later, Lijan invested and helped him open this styling club. That's right, Lijan was also the boss here, but he never asked about the performance here. It was quite playful. Although the styling club had a yearly income of several million, this little money wasn't in Lijan's eyes at all. This was the first time Pete had seen Lijan go out with a woman other than Li Yin and his mother. The shock in his heart was no less than when Columbus saw the New World. As he lamented that his Prince Charming had a woman he liked, he also felt a little disappointed. In short, he had mixed feelings. However, the girl in front of him was indeed good-looking. Her looks were enough to match Lijan, but he didn't know if she was worthy of his status. "What banquet are you going to attend today?" Even though the capital was so small, there were countless banquets every day, not to mention on New Year's Day. "My uncle's birthday banquet." Pete felt stifled. Bringing him to meet his parents so soon, is it going to be decided at least let him slow down the shock of Lijan finding a girlfriend? Accept his fate who asked Lijan to have the wrong gender. Pete stared at Shiwan for a long time, then looked at Lijan for a long time, then asked Lijan, "Are you going to attend your uncle's birthday banquet like this?" Lijan nodded. He didn't like strange things spraying on his hair. It was dirty. Pete sighed, looking at Lijan, who didn't have a styling, but still had a straight figure like jade. True, handsome, willful. Pete thought about it and started to do makeup for Shiwan. He placed his hand on Shiwan's face and sighed. "It's good to be young. This skin is as soft and smooth as a freshly peeled egg. With a good foundation, you can even put on makeup quickly. Just a light makeup will do. It'll match with you, match." The word match clearly meant that someone had paired the two of them together. Lijan did not refute, as he could not be bothered with Pete. Shiwan was happy to see that. Pete's craftsmanship was not inferior to Zhou Dong's. In just a few moments, the makeup on his face was done. She had light brown eyebrows, and her phoenix eyes were painted with silver grape eyeshadow, which made her eyes look radiant. Then, she put on a layer of light pink lipstick, which made her look even more radiant. Her hair was done straight, and her hair was braided at the back. It was held in a small clip studded with diamonds, making her look simple and elegant. Then, Pete ran to the third floor to get a long white dress for 11 won to change into. When Shiwan came out again, Pete only felt that he saw the goddess of moonlight. There was a saying, "A beautiful woman needs to be dressed in filial piety." It was the truth. How beautiful. Even a gay like me is tempted. Ajan's taste has always been good. After that, Pete thought of something and said to Li Jian, "You should change too. This black suit of yours is too greasy. It's not nice to wear black at his birthday banquet." "Shiwan, it's rare for me to wear a white suit." Pete saw that Li Jian was unmoved and continued, "I have a suit on me. I just shipped it back from Milan. It's a high-grade custom-made suit. It cost me $580,000, but no one has worn it. I originally wanted to give it to my honey, but now it's too easy for you." Luckily, my honey's body shape is the same as Li Jian's. Li Jian still ignored it. Pete didn't give up. He carried the white suit from upstairs and said, "Hurry up and put it on." Li Jian continued to ignore it. Pete made up his mind and poured all the tea that was served to Li Jian onto Li Jian's clothes. Then he lifted his neck and looked like he was saying, "Even if I die, I want you to change your clothes." "Shiwan, how dare you?" When the two of them finished their poses, it was already noon. At that time, Li Jian received a call from Li Yin. She asked the two of them to go to the Imperial City Hotel first. She and Zheng Nuo would come over later. After Li Yin finished the call, Zheng Nuo knew what to do no matter how stupid he was. "Do you want to pair Shiwan and Brother Zhang together?" Although Li Yin still looked weak after hanging up the drip, she was smiling brightly. "You just realized that." Zheng Nuo could not spit out a mouthful of blood. It was as if something was pressing on him. He walked back and forth a few times, took a few deep breaths, and looked at Li Yin. "Yeah, let's ride a donkey and read this song. We'll see." Li Yin had a side of the Li family after all. When she heard Zheng Nuo's battle invitation, she was expressionless and snorted coldly. "Yeah, you have the confidence to compete with my brother." Zheng Nuo clenched his fists, the veins on his forehead throbbing. Yes, he was not confident. There was always someone in this world who called someone else's child. No matter what, he was an existence that crushed you. Brother Zhang was that kind of existence. After Li Yin took out the needle, she looked at Zheng Nuo. "Even if 11-1 didn't fall in love with my brother, she wouldn't fall in love with you. Don't get too involved." She had known Jiang Shuan unilaterally for more than 3 years. For so many years, she had always treated her as a love rival and studied her all sorts of things, but she had never seen through her. In the past, she had always been submissive and quiet. If she wasn't working, she was working. The school and workplace were always in a hurry. Jiang, he was so outstanding, but she turned a blind eye to him. Her brother was so magnificent and peerless, but she had only treated him with indifference. Would such a person like Zheng Nuo fall in love with him? It wasn't that Zheng Nuo wasn't good, but he was inferior to Jiang Yi and her brother. He couldn't be compared to Zheng Nuo just because he was more devoted. Who wouldn't like a woman who was more devoted in love? Zheng Nuo looked at Li Yin. "You know about it again." Shiwan saw that Li Jian had hung up the phone and asked, "Li Yin called?" Li Jian nodded. "Go ahead. Eat first. We'll go to Imperial City later." Shiwan was stunned. "Eat?" Li Jian looked at the watch on his wrist. "It's 12 o'clock. Aren't you hungry?" Shiwan was about to say that she was hungry when she heard the boss continue to say, "If you're not hungry, you can watch me eat." "Shiwan, I'm hungry." Li Jian raised his eyebrows and said, "Follow me." Shiwan, since when did she have a follower attribute? She was always followed by a group of people. F***CK. Because this was the most prosperous commercial area, there were a lot of food shops. Li Jian took Shiwan to the revolving restaurant on the 68th floor of the building next door. There were only the two of them in the sightseeing elevator. Probably because of the enclosed environment, Shiwan always felt that he could smell the good smell of the boss. It was not the smell of perfume or shower gel. It was just an indescribable clean smell. Shiwan was a little embarrassed and could only look at the scenery outside the elevator. The sightseeing elevator was rising at a very fast speed. Shiwan looked at the buildings, cars, and pedestrians outside the elevator. They came and went in a hurry and gradually turned into small dots. Ding! The elevator door opened. Because the two of them were already beautiful, and they were dressed in gorgeous clothes, they stood at the revolving door to welcome the guests. They could not help but be stunned. "Hello, please come in this way." After the two of them left, the two hostesses said in unison in a daze, "So beautiful." They said, "There really are such beautiful people in the world. They're so beautiful that it's hard to breathe. I'm really looking forward to their children." B said, "Any combination will do. They're both beautiful crying babies." A said, "The most beautiful combination I've ever seen is Soon Won Yu and her boyfriend." B said, "But compared to them, Best Actress Sue and her lover are really not enough. They were too beautiful. They had been hostesses for many years and had seen all kinds of beauties. However, this was the first time they had seen such a beautiful couple. If the full score was 100, Best Actress Sue and her lover would get 100 points because they could get this score, and if this couple could get 100 points, it was because the full score was only 100 points. But the beauty looked so familiar. Shiwan and Li Jian naturally did not know that the two receptionists were excitedly discussing her, and Li Jian behind them. Shiwan and Li Jian chose a place by the window to sit, so they could see the scenery outside. The waiter quickly came over. When he saw Shiwan and Li Jian, he was shocked. What a handsome couple. However, she was also very good at serving people. She quickly suppressed the shock in her heart and handed the menu to the two of them. She said softly, "Please take your time to look at it. If you need my recommendation, you can tell me." The two of them ordered 2 steaks and 1 pasta. Li Jian only ordered a glass of red wine because he wanted to drive. Shiwan didn't want to order red wine initially, but with the boss by her side, she felt a little pressured. It was better to drink some red wine to calm down. The way she drank the red wine was very standard and pleasing to the eye. 1 sip, 1 sip of the steak. It was too delicious. Sigh, such a pleasant day. If only the person across from her was not Li Jian. Sitting opposite her was the unsmiling boss. The pressure was really great. The atmosphere was slightly silent. The men and women at the other tables were all talking and laughing, full of affection. The people at this table, the boss only ate steak, pasta, and occasionally drank water. Although his posture was very elegant and pleasing to the eyes. "Say something. This makes me very embarrassed, boss." No wonder he is already 27 years old and still an old virgin. The villain in Shiwan's heart had made a rare noise 100 times, but on the surface, it was still not obvious. She tasted the red wine elegantly and ate the steak. Until the meal was over, the two of them didn't exchange any other words. This was the first time Shiwan had met Li Jian, who wasn't close to women, of course. In the future, she would definitely bite down on this excuse and swallow it. She spread her hands. This was all for the future. When Li Jian went to pay the bill, Shiwan remembered that he was the one who bought her yesterday's clothes. When she went downstairs, she couldn't help but ask, "Boss?" "Yes." "That clothes, how much?" When Shiwan finished asking, Li Jian couldn't help but think of his embarrassed image. He was a little embarrassed and angry. "I don't know. Don't ask anymore." Shiwan blinked her eyes. She seemed to have seen the boss's ears turn red. Was he shy then? Shiwan thought of the too sexy front button. Cough, cough, it seemed a little hot. Well, he must have drunk too much red wine just now. "Then don't you want me to return it?" "You talk too much." "Shiwan, I've only said a few words. I can count them all together. How is it too much, damn? Don't you know that outsiders call me the goddess of coldness, whether it's my past life or this life? I'm called the goddess of coldness. Okay?" Shiwan was really hit. The mountain of coldness, is really a mountain higher than a mountain.